Time, and there's no better place to enjoy all the action than by getting in on the action with the FanDuel Sportsbook. John and Josh here to remind you that during the NBA Finals, you can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Doesn't matter which side you like. Doesn't matter if there's a player prop you like. Whatever it is, you win a $5 bet, you get $150 in bonus bets by visiting FanDuel.com/1620.
John, obviously a lot of people will be wondering about Jason Tatum. Can he finally get that elusive ring? And can the Celtics pick up only their second championship since I was born? Let's find out starting this week. Again, go to FanDuel.com/1620 today and get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. FanDuel.com/1620. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued is not withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
I'm Taylor Bisciotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey signed a 2-year extension worth $38 million. He's now set to earn $62.2 million over the next 4 years. McCaffrey is coming off the best season of his career as he led the NFL in rushing and finished the regular season with more than 2,000 all-purpose yards to go along with 21 total touchdowns. Packers general manager Brian Gutekunst told 97.3 The Game that they're in conversations about a long-term contract extension with quarterback Jordan Love, and they hope to get a deal done before the start of training camp. Love is entering the final year of his contract. 10 teams opened mandatory minicamp on Tuesday, but a couple of high-profile players were absent. Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb and 49ers receiver Brandon Ayuk were both no-shows as they seek new contracts. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
As you know, summer is right around the corner, and for most people, that means more activities, more golf, more biking, more of whatever you love to do. But if you're dealing with aches and pains, your more could become less. This is why I'm here to tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that helps fight pain naturally. For instance, I was sent Relief Factor to try, and I've been taking it every single day. I'll tell you what, I feel the difference every day. You see, instead of masking your pain, Relief Factor's formula is designed to help reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free, and it's been a game changer for so many people. So let's get after it this summer. Let's feel good. Let's do more of the things that we love to do. Don't let pain keep you down. Give Relief Factor a try and save on your first order. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. Help fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Runza and the Omaha Storm Chasers team up to play as the Omaha Runzas. Be at Werner Park on Saturday, June 8th for Runza Night. The team takes the field in special jerseys to be auctioned off during the game. Enjoy in-game stadium Runzas for one night only, and the first 1,200 fans will get a special Runza sun hat to help block those summer rays. Get your tickets today at OmahaStormChasers.com.
Omaha Storm Chasers family. Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm with family. Post is roasting every morning.
Post Coffee Services is on a mission to invigorate every workplace with a blend of bold flavors and unforgettable service, creating moments with our coffee, water, and food services that spark joy, productivity, and connection. Call us today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Post Coffee Services is always roasting something good for you.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
1620 The Zone.
3-2. Swinging a fly ball, left center and deep. Back goes Robert near the wall. It's a home run for Wisdom. The ball game is tied at 5. Listen to this crowd. They wanted points. They got points as Wisdom sits back on the 5th off-speed pitch of the at-bat and hooks it into the basket in left center field. Big pinch hit, 2-run bomb for Wisdom. Runners at first and second. Happ has a double and a single in this game. And he hits a drive to right field. On the run, Sheets. It gets past him. It goes up against the wall. Bellinger scores. Here comes Morrell to the plate. The relay, the slide. He scores. Cubs lead. Cubs lead, a 2-run double for Ian Happ.
Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball, hit the other way, slicing toward the corner, and it's down. That's a base hit. Bregman scores easily. Alvarez held at third base. A run-scoring double by Jeremy Pena. It's 3-1. First pitch, and he drives it to right field. Back on it, Burleson. On the track. Sail away. Sail away. 6-1 Astros on Yainer Diaz's 5th of the season.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
Here we go. Here we go.
All right, here we go on a Wednesday. Good morning. We are live on a hump day, and the whole gang is back together.
Not tape delay.
For a day.
And
then Nick's going to bail on us for a couple of days.
Sorry, guys.
But we are all back together. Jimmy is back from his extended vacation to his homeland.
Yeah. Came back with a rainbow jersey.
Oh?
Yeah. Astros rainbow jersey.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I just
sorry. I had baseball on the mind.
No,
Yeah,
I was confused because I immediately thought maybe you went to Hawaii.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking Hawaii fighting rainbows.
I had been to Hawaii. I may not have come back.
Rainbow Warriors.
But good morning, everybody. Welcome in. We got a busy show for you. Lots to discuss. Hope your day is off to a good start like my day is.
Oh.
Opened up the car door this morning. You know, I've had this discussion about, you know, like when you go and you get some takeout and you have it sitting in the front seat of your car and you get the smell the next morning and maybe like a Lighthouse pizza lingers for a couple of days.
Yeah. What'd you have?
Somebody gave me an air freshener.
Oh,
like it was the air freshener in the shape of a basketball shoe. And I'm not really a big air freshener guy.
Does it smell like a basketball shoe?
No, thank God. So
a hockey glove?
I had it and I had not opened it. And I had it for like a couple of weeks. And I'm like, yeah, you know what the heck? So I put it in my car and it kicked in this morning. Oh, I was high on life when I got in my car this morning, thanks to that air freshener that looks like a pair of Jumpmans.
What did it smell like? I'm really curious. What is a basketball shoe air freshener smell?
So
like?
I'm a huge strawberry fan.
Oh, okay.
And
Daryl is amazing.
It has a little strawberry fruitish smell to it.
Very summery then. Yeah, that seems refreshing.
Now, the old Gary would just pick up the air freshener and instead of using deodorant, would just wipe that under the underarms.
You did do that, huh?
Wipe that on the front of my chest, wipe that on my shirt. Oh, yeah.
I think everybody's done a pine tree at one point.
Yeah.
I had the cure for Axe body spray before there was any thought of Axe body spray.
Ooh.
Just get an air freshener and rub that up and down your body. When you didn't have time to take a shower.
So, friend of mine tried to do the Axe body spray instead of the deodorant on his wedding day.
Ooh.
And he was a very nervous young man, young love in his 20s, a whole world ahead of you. Yeah, he was nervous. And we started noticing he got a little gamey. And so one of us had to step up and actually go. There was a nearby Walgreens or something. Like, here, buddy. Because he just kept putting the Axe body spray on. Like, dude, don't. That's not helping your situation right now.
Was he renting or did he own the suit?
That's a good question. So it was probably early 2000s. So I'm assuming we're in rental mode then. That was when we weren't real adults about those types of decisions of, hey, let's just buy a suit.
You're on a budget.
So I'm pretty sure that was a rental. So they probably had to deal with that the next day.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
wasn't quite like the Seinfeld Beast, but
when you're in a rental car or a suit or a home, it's just what,
and you give it a little funk.
Yeah,
there was a little funk there.
Maybe your desire to make it the best that it can be is not always there.
No, because you're the one who doesn't have to deal with it later, so you don't care. It's just like anything.
As you heard there in the open late last night, two bad baseball teams played on the north side of Chicago, and Chicago somehow found a way to win the game, and then a wild top of the ninth, they beat the White Sox. But it is, man, there's no sports. There was no sports Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday. Now, I know you can find baseball.
Well,
and you had a little, you had college baseball and you had some college softball, and you get college softball back tonight.
Well, softball's in the afternoon, though, too.
But no sports. I mean, the NBA still is a day away. The NHL doesn't start until Saturday. I don't know what people are doing.
Netflix. What the hell we watched last night? I don't remember. I went to bed early. It was grumpy.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
I really don't remember what we watched.
I thought we were going on a retreat to find yourself.
I did.
Jimmy stayed true to character.
Don't worry, we got 3 hours and 45 minutes.
No, it actually sucked yesterday. So caught the end of the Women's College World Series game, which actually was really, really good. I was happy to see the walk-off because we called OU yesterday. So this is when I hate I'm so the fact that it's taken this long for Cleveland and Kansas City to hook up, but this is where it's not good to have YouTube TV because we don't have Bally Sports. So I had to piggyback off of friends. Basically I had to use their Hulu Live, but what I didn't realize either their accounts are maxed with other users. I was getting knocked off of that thing left and right last night. So finally, I just had to go to the radio call and listen to Hammy last night. That was my
He's pretty
next.
good, though.
Oh, he was great. And
too.
as everyone knows, Hammy
5-0 to 8-5.
Yes, and as Hammy starts to call a comeback in a big game, it's pretty good. So that was fine. But as far as viewing, and then they dropped the Chasing 3 Ep 3 late last night. So then
I should have watched that.
At least that tied something over. But yeah, it was slim pickings last night.
Not to be confused with Carl Pickens.
I had some login issues with ESPN Plus over the weekend trying to watch Nebraska baseball.
I did today. Or I'm sorry, yesterday.
Yeah.
Phone worked,
but
computer did not.
You know what was a godsend if you had trouble and you couldn't get on ESPN Plus or the rare game that was on SEC Network? Is somebody was streaming the video on YouTube. There was a guy that did all of the regional sites.
Really?
And so the only thing that you had to put up with, so immediately I'm like, yeah, I'm onto this. So I'm watching an illegal stream.
Yeah.
And I cast it to my TV.
Yeah.
The only thing was like every about 20 minutes, there would be all of a sudden an abrupt commercial would just drop in and you would have to, you know how on YouTube you have to watch a commercial for like 5 seconds and then you hit skip
and dismiss or skip. Yeah.
That's what it would be. But yeah, some guy on his YouTube page, basically he had all 16 regional sites. And so I'm like, ESPN
he
Plus.
had all of them?
Doing the Lord's work.
Wow.
And I was like, I'll watch this. He also had Squeeze Play up. And I was really surprised.
He's a bootlegger.
Because on Friday he had it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this will be down before mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
It was still there on
Wow.
Sunday.
I'm shocked, especially knowing how extremely vigilant the NCAA appears to be, at least during the College World Series, when it comes to signage around the stadium and all the different things of, oh, nope, you're crossing the boundary here, that they would let that go on even more than 3 or 4 innings.
Well, I noticed during WrestleMania, there were a lot of people that had streams up, and they were being shut down. Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
I've noticed a thing on TikTok where if you're on live TikTok, there are more people that are doing basically like a live Big Red overreaction, where the game is on in the background,
right?
So you can hear the sound of the game, and then the person in front of the camera is just commentating, and then they're interacting with all of their viewers. Yeah. I think that's the workaround to not having an illegal stream. But if there's an illegal stream, LeBron and you will be able to find it.
I've been honestly not as of late, because we were able to find a way to and I've told you this before about doing the YouTube TV and having the Chicago area code so we could just get the Chicago Bears local games. But before we had that gem, I'm maybe not proud, but I'm not ashamed to admit I went to some illegal streams and watching Bears games on Sunday because I didn't want to go to the bar.
Hey,
save some money.
A lot of people fight the NFL on Sundays to find an illegal stream.
And I've always wondered what it's done to my
scrambler?
computer. What happens afterwards? Have I gone to some dark, seedy areas
Now I've
to
been
get there?
I've been told, like when you're surfing the interwebs and it comes up with your iPhone has been hacked.
Yeah.
You'll need to send us $5,000 in cash. That's not true.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I know that now because I sent that $10,000 in and my phone still was not working. So still waiting for that to take effect.
You know what? I miss when I would interact with those people that would call. Like, like you have a setup on your iPhone that says scam likely. And there'll be some times where I'll just
And
answer.
so you answer, yeah.
Yeah, like if I'm bored, I'll be like, I want to see how long I can keep this person on the phone. And then it's always hey, I'm busy right now. Can I call you back? Can I have a number? And that's when it ends.
Are you curious about the hustle? I'm always so the few times Are you
guys hiring?
I'm always curious about what they're hustling me on.
Yeah. So the one of my lines is, you know what? You're talking to a fellow BSer.
Yeah.
So you better step up your game. And then it really gets complicated because it's off script.
Yeah.
You're trying to read a script.
Yeah.
Yeah. I once answered one of those calls, and they told me that, like my daughter was trapped in Indonesia or something.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, well, I said, I don't. I was being just a jerk. I was like, I don't really care.
She's only my daughter by marriage.
You should have just said, well, this is probably good for her. This is a life lesson.
Builds character.
An experience that if she makes it out, then she's going to be better off for it.
What I should have done is gone into Liam Neeson.
Yeah. Oh, see, yeah. If you were thinking.
I have.
Yes.
But I
still don't care.
I just at that point I was like, this conversation's gone on way too long. Bruin Steve says, not a bad morning. Got my car back at the repairs from the storm damage were completed. Flip side, I now get to go back and forth with insurance on the house repairs and the payment.
Yeah. The house repair stuff. So if you're in the neighborhood that I'm in, or anybody who got pelted with hail, went to a few graduation parties over the last 2 weeks.
How are the sloppy joes?
We didn't. I did not have sloppy joes at any of them. One was pasta. Another was pulled pork.
Oh, popular one.
But everybody has the construction sign, and it's very necessary right now because for a while there you were getting inundated with people coming to your door like, "Hey, did you get an estimate yet?" So I think we're all in it. If I'm reading Bruin Steve's assessment, I think we're all in phase 2 now, where you're getting the adjusters out, and then they're ready to start repairing that. So that's where Omaha is now after the hail from 2 weeks ago, as far as I know, and Bennington,
right,
and Blair.
So that's what I missed,
and all that place. Yeah, there's a lot of signs in people's yards right now.
What are we, about 5 weeks since the tornadoes rolled through here?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, welcome in everybody. Also, we with no sports, we do get the Women's College World Series. Texas and Oklahoma. Can two teams lose that are playing tonight in Oklahoma City?
Kind of how I feel about the finals.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel if you're the Big 12?
Yeah,
because that's the swan song. It's not like
they technically are still ours.
Like, what would be the equivalent with Nebraska involved in the Big 12 football championship game? Like Texas and Oklahoma are rivals.
Yep.
They've been mainstays of the Big 12, and they're both leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Nebraska played Oklahoma, Oklahoma was staying, Nebraska was leaving.
Right.
What would be the equivalent of the last Big 12 championship game?
Well, it couldn't happen.
Because you couldn't play Nebraska, Missouri.
Right. Nebraska, Missouri, or even Nebraska, Colorado. It couldn't happen because they're in the same division.
We were not as jazzed up about Texas A&M back then.
True. And yeah, because Texas they were the evil empire. So this worked out really well as far as putting pure hatred. If you just want to hate, if you're a Big 12 fan, you wanted to hate the championship series, this was the absolute best case scenario for you because I don't think it does get any worse than that.
It was inevitable. These are two of the best softball teams, and they have pure hatred for them. Oklahoma celebrates everything. They're trying to go for their fourth straight.
Yep.
But will the commissioner of the Big 12 be there? I mean, if I'm Greg Sankey, I'm there. I like how Sankey should be behind home
He should
plate.
be there. Absolutely, he should be there.
College baseball kicks up on the weekend before next week in the College World Series. The extended forecast on the local news channels now include the opening day of the College World Series. Would you like to take a gander on what the weather is going to be like 1 week from Friday downtown at the College World Series?
So I looked.
No, I did not say look, just guess.
Oh, guess. Okay, well, if I'm going to guess.
Maybe maybe you're a weather weenie. Maybe you rub the Buddha of Al Roker when you get up in the morning.
Pleasant is going to be my guess.
Or you're hoping to live to 100 so that Willard Scott can say happy birthday to
I
you.
remember Willard Scott doing that stuff.
Rest in peace.
That was
Is he dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, Willard Scott is no longer
Unfortunately,
with
he's
us.
passed away.
Grew
Recently.
up watching him.
I'm going to say 80 degrees. I think we're going to get a good one on Friday.
Whoa.
We're going to get a good one.
Pushing
from this
90.
Friday.
Bam. 90.
Oh, no.
Summer.
So it begins.
90.
Oh, yeah.
No rain. Looks like sunny skies. 90 next Friday.
Issuing a swamp ass watch.
For the ACC invite.
Yeah.
I will say that half of the field here will be teams from the ACC, and there will only be 2 SEC teams here.
All the teams I wanted to
Texas
win lost.
A&M and Tennessee.
I
But I think half the field will be from the ACC.
I noticed you did not throw in a team from the Missouri Valley Conference.
Their challenge is enormous.
It's a little bit with Tennessee, yes. Yeah.
Tony.
But get ready. I think our brethren from the ACC will be invading Omaha.
A potential future Big Ten member in Florida State?
They're probably all future Big Ten members. I can't.
Clemson?
Yeah.
Some Big Ten teams right there. Welcome. All right.
Conferences will make no sense. I mean, Abilene Christian in the Summit League.
Do you think Tony Petitti will be there?
Damn. Abilene.
Scouting some of the future Big Ten schools? He'll be here in Omaha. He was just here 2 weeks ago.
But let's be honest. Tony Petitti has no say in what happens to his conference. Absolutely no say.
No, that falls on the TV networks and the athletic directors.
Exactly. No, not even the athletic directors.
I'm sorry, not the athletic.
Get out the way.
Presidents, chancellors, too.
Presidents, get out the way. If Fox Sports wanted Florida State and Clemson in the Big Ten, then they're in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
If Fox Sports says, nah, we're good, then Florida State and Clemson are not coming to the Big Ten.
Yep.
Tony Petitti, thanks for playing.
Yeah. Tony Petitti, we need you to deliver the message of the type of conference restructuring that could take place. But yes, I think what we've learned in this last go-around is it's going to start with the TV execs. Absolutely.
Oh, no, not the last go-around. This is, Nick, this has been going on for a while.
We've learned that was the case before, but it's been very well publicized here in the last go-around.
So Stanford wanted into the Big Ten, and Fox was like, we see no value.
Yeah.
And so no Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Fox was a little bit tepid on UCLA.
But they have to bring their buddy, their traveling partner. So they're like, well,
they don't have to.
Can't have one without the other.
No, USC could have jumped in without UCLA, but there was a ruckus that was made, and UCLA then got in. I think it's going to affect UCLA greatly, being in the Big Ten.
And you're saying affect in a negative way, not a good way.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah. I seriously think they're going to. I mean, they're already in a financial crunch, and they've got to bail out some fellow Cal schools. I don't think this transition is going to be great for UCLA.
I would second that from the standpoint of not even from the financial situation, because I remember Rutgers coming in too. That was more of a golden parachute for Rutgers with their athletic situation, the athletic department situation. And really, I think that actually went university-wide, did it not? With Rutgers, they were in a lot of trouble. So that was getting into the Big Ten was almost like a bailout. For UCLA, I'll look at more of it from the athletic standpoint because I'm not as in tune on their financial woes as much as I remember Rutgers. And when that was coming in, for whatever reason, I was nerding out on a lot of those stories with Rutgers. Athletically, though, and we could keep it just to baseball of a brand, a program that when they do anything, it's worth something because it's still a baseball brand. But I think from an athletic department standpoint too, if they do something, it's notable if they're doing something positive. But when's the last time they've really done anything?
Their women's sports will make the transition very well.
Good point.
But their three main men's sports, football, men's basketball, and baseball, are not in a great spot.
Yeah.
And UCLA men's basketball had a rough year. They went out and spent a bunch of cash to help Mick Cronin out. But I don't know. Football's got a brand new coach. Baseball has taken a major step back there.
Yeah.
I just think UCLA's transition will be a little bit rocky.
I can't imagine the struggles that they're having and now going to the Big Ten alongside with some fellow Pac-12 members, but going along to the Big Ten and that transition all of a sudden, the Big Ten was the answer to unlock success for those three sports all of a sudden. It just doesn't work that way, especially when you're coming in a little bit on the struggle bus there too. So,
well, and you have, USC fancies themselves more as a national program. So they look at the Big Ten and go, oh yeah, that's part of our national brand. UCLA is California through and through. And now all of a sudden there's only two schools or a fellow school in your own conference that is in the state of California.
Yeah.
I think UCLA, the transition is going to be really, really rough. And also their NIL is not, definitely not in the top half of the Big Ten. And also I think the attention towards UCLA. I mean,
I would agree with that too.
Were people excited for UCLA to be joining the Big Ten? I mean, if this was 10 years ago, maybe.
I think they're the one team that if you're rattling off the new additions, they're the one school. Just because USC, you remember them, but if you're starting with Washington, Oregon, you're like USC and UCLA. I mean, it is. It's usually the last one mentioned. So it is. It's growing up. You growing up, Jimmy growing up. UCLA was a brand, and they were so because of success that they had in their revenue-making sports in the men's side. Whether it was basketball, and that's the other thing too. I mean, football is one thing, but if you're having some lean years with football, there was always that thought that you could fall back on basketball because I mean, come on, that's John Wooden. It's UCLA basketball. I mean, that's supposed to mean something, and you do have money that goes into that program. Now, the NIL thing you bring up, I'm a little surprised by that because, and this is where it's probably a little bit more off the reality of how NIL works. But I always start with NIL must be good if there's a good donor base. If there's a good strong alumni base that likes to give back to the school. I would have always thought UCLA has that. But what we've learned is obviously it's more than just that, but also we've talked about it locally. People will invest. People will get into it. Even regardless of what your donor base is, if they feel like that program or the product is heading in the right direction, and maybe I don't know what the holdup is there at UCLA.
I think there's more people at UCLA that are upset that the Pac-12 has come to an end than USC. Again, USC looks at themselves as a national brand.
Yeah,
we can go anywhere, play anyone. We play Notre Dame. We are USC. So the Big Ten being a national conference is perfect for us. UCLA looks and says, hey, man, we are the Pac-12. We are the Conference of Champions. And now they're in a conference that is unfamiliar. And is it going to generate interest?
That's fair. Yeah.
I'll be very curious on like the attention towards the Big Ten network in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
and how much BTN helps out Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and USC when it comes to coverage and, discussion. I don't remember. I guess I really wasn't paying much attention to the Big Ten network when Nebraska entered the Big Ten. But did they go all over the top for Nebraska coverage in the first year? I wasn't living.
They did. Yes. Okay. Yeah, they did. And what I'm also, you ask an interesting question about how will that go over? How will the Big Ten Network go over in the LA market? With that fan base in a large market there, it seems like it would be very, very pedestrian. But I mean, you got to also remember the type of network they had before, if you even want to call it that, with what the Pac-12 had for them. That I would think any type of coverage. Now we especially this time of the year, I know I do it. You do it as well. We want a little bit more from Big Ten Network when it comes to current sports that are happening right now. But all in all, as far as what you get, especially during the football and basketball season, that's a lot more than what they're used to getting with a Pac-12 now. I would think you'd be okay with it. But again, I don't know how much UCLA athletics, if you're out in LA and you've got your sports fans out there, and there's plenty of them, I've always thought of it as more of a pro sports market, but then it's USC.
I also think the Big Ten Network, and there are some positives of the Big Ten Network. We all know a handful of people that work there, and they do a really, really good job, and the product they put out. I think the importance of the Big Ten Network is lessened with the new TV contract.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because that Friday night game that might show up on the Big Ten Network now is on Big Fox.
Yep.
The window from Fox, CBS, and NBC will dominate Saturday, and it's almost a major letdown if you are subject to appearing on the Big Ten Network on a football Saturday.
Yeah, it's boring. It's the ESPN 2 11 a.m. game from back in the day.
I mean, that's live sports are always number one in any network. More live sports, the better. But what do you do with the auxiliary programming? I look at the SEC network, and it's not just Feinbaugh from 2 to 6. And he's got a stranglehold on the South because he's also a lot of radio stations in the South. They don't have local afternoon drive. They have Feinbaum from 2 to 6, but they have auxiliary programming that keeps you in tune. I mean, they're when the baseball is done at night or the softball, they're on the air with a 30-minute recap show.
Yep.
And 4 hours of Saban.
And they drive people to watch SEC Tonight, whatever the show that he hosts at 6:00 every Monday through Friday. Big Ten Network doesn't have that. And I just, we clamor for that. I don't know if that's something they want to do, but I just think with the expanded window in the fall where you get Big Fox on a Friday, you get Fox at 11 on a Saturday, CBS at 2:30, NBC at 6:30. What does the Big Ten Network have?
Remember,
other than upping the price on BTN Plus for this upcoming year,
right? Take it out the team package. And you remember this because you would have been here when Nebraska joined the Big Ten, and it was shortly after. So I think this would have been your first or second year back. Remember they did that for a while, and I don't remember exactly when it ended, but they did a 6:00 BTN live show, and it was a daily. It was yearly, so it wasn't just through fall for football or even through winter for basketball. It was year round, and I remember when I came back to Omaha, we actually we carried that after our show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they did radio formatted as well, because I think that was the idea is, well, if this thing takes off, maybe we can get more BTN programming that we can use for our member institutions, radio affiliates or radio stations. And it was, I think it was only a half hour, might have been an hour, but
why did it go away?
I don't know. That's a great question, because I remember thinking this is decent. If you're trying to get a state like Nebraska that is more pro Nebraska than it is pro Big Ten, this is a good way to at least get people a little bit more excited about the product in its entirety with the conference. And it wasn't bad. It was something that I know lasted for at least a year. It might have been 2 years, but it was either a half hour, an hour, but it was your typical show of, it had features, but it had up-to-date stuff of what's going on today in the Big Ten. And if there wasn't a lot of stuff going on that day, then they had a lot of features, different coaches and different sports. And so they promoted a lot of the attention-grabbing sports first and foremost. But if a coach had accomplished something, like, they were always good getting access. But yeah, they radio formatted that as well.
Yeah, I wonder if the Big Ten. So, we're in a world where it's the Big Ten and the SEC, and we'll see if they play nice with each other or they go head-to-head on certain issues. The SEC has always done a really great job, and I think they play into their fan base that has got an enormous amount of passion for their schools and their sports, either men or women, is the SEC as a front office, and that's the phrase I'm using, leans into it. Because look at like the SEC meetings.
Mm-hmm.
They had meetings. The Big Ten has meetings. They were just out in Los Angeles, but it was really quiet. There was no like media availability.
Yeah, you don't have live coverage
the
going on.
SEC turned it into a media event.
Yeah.
And what happened last week? The SEC was at the forefront. Everybody was talking about the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Ten, that is not something they've ever done. And I don't know if it'll start with a Los Angeles market, a Seattle market, a Portland market, along with the bigger markets that are already existing.
Yeah.
But they don't really promote themselves well when
Agreed.
it comes to, they kind of let their sports do the talking. But Sankey and, Mike Sly before that, they're like, you know what? We'll give people content. That's what people want. People are clamoring for that content. So they'll go to our network.
Yeah.
We got a talk show that's on there that's always talking about our teams. You get sick and tired of the SEC. Well, we talk about them because we are given stuff to talk about them, and there's a lot more media availability. I mean, don't you think that they're having the Big Ten meetings out in Los Angeles recently? I mean, media would have gone to cover that. They would have loved to hear from the coaches and the athletic directors, but you just,
especially now,
just that's like old school Big Ten thinking. With a TV exec in charge, I wonder if they'll make a transition where those things will be promoted a little bit more, and they'll say, "Hey, media, come cover this, this, and this," because the Big Ten is a beast, and it needs to start acting like a beast. But the SEC wins the PR game.
No, and you're right about the. Remember how people always talked about it, and that we were really inundated with this when it came to COVID. Of the Big Ten has and always will be a conference that's in lockstep with the decisions from the top. Okay, everybody, a lot of that's old school thinking. That everything that is old school thinking is completely. That's all yesterday. Old school thinking is not going to get you. Is not going to get you much further along in the process. And the Big Ten, give them a lot of credit with what they've been able to accomplish with the TV deal, with being able to expand the conference, now being one of two of the power brokers when it comes to especially the sport of college football and the biggest moneymaker, that they've shown the ability, in a way, almost like the NCAA, shown a way to be progressive. But I feel like I bring up that Big Ten Live little stint that they did as something that I think they wanted to try it, and then they were just uncomfortable with it. Where, you know what?
Was it picked up in many markets?
I don't think so. That's why I was so surprised that we had the availability and we did it, but I was not hearing it from a lot of other places. Now, I don't know if they were doing it in Columbus. I don't know if they were doing it in State College. I'm not sure. But I also always wonder, I think if you do it over time, you're going to get more Big Ten markets that will want that content. But I also think there's always been that school of thought from the top of, well, the SEC, their fans, they eat that crap up. They want more content, and they do.
Mm-hmm.
And our fans are more individual centric to their teams. They're not necessarily pro conference. They'll support the conference in certain matters, but they're not full content.
I would vibe with that.
And so I wonder if that has created some of those decisions to where they want to hold off on certain things. But now, as you see where everything is going, where you want to really promote the brand of the conference, not just the teams in there, but the conference itself, especially with the legs that the Big Ten is standing on right now. I would think that would be a good opportunity to revisit some of those ideas.
I wonder on campuses, and I agree about the passion. I mean, it's not like there are 18 fan bases that are extremely passionate. If there's also still the old Big Ten mentality of don't let sports dominate the landscape, because we still are an academic conference in some places, not everywhere.
Right.
I mean, I get more jazzed about the sellouts on the facade than the academic All-Americans. Right?
You don't get you're not following AAU progress on a weekly basis.
Certainly, look at my transcript. I didn't go to Lincoln to play school. Speaking of that,
Cardale Sharp.
87 days until Nebraska and UTEP play.
Who's count?
Don't slap us on the wrist. We do a countdown, so we just remind you that we are 87 days away. Wouldn't that be something if this year Nebraska football only appeared on Fox, not Fox, but Big Ten Network twice?
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
That would show you the brand availability and mobility of Nebraska athletics. You were only on BTN because you're required to be on the. Well, you actually might be required to be on there twice. But if they were only at the just two.
Yeah.
They're already on the Northern Iowa game is on the Big Ten Network.
Does the spring game count?
No. Hey, did the Big Ten Network do like a recap of 18 spring games? Did they do a spring wrap-up show?
I don't believe they did. Now, didn't they used to do, I know they do the bus trips before fall. Didn't they do some form of that in the spring as well?
A little bit.
I thought so.
I don't think they
didn't hit everyone.
No. But they used to do a wrap-up.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Like Howard Griffin gets out and tries to hit as many camps as possible in the spring.
Yeah.
But I don't think they did like a wrap-up show. But you could watch the 94 Nebraska-Colorado game here shortly on the Big Ten Network.
Sure can.
All right. Coming up a little bit later, Marty Cordero will join us from the Omaha Storm Chasers. Also, Sean Leahy will stop by. We'll talk the NHL Stanley Cup Final, which is Edmonton and Florida, which does not begin until Saturday. And also Brandon Vogel from counterread.com will join us. The lineup brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. Off and running, the whole gang's back together. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
The biggest pro football contests in Vegas are back. Circa Survivor and Circa Million are now up to $16 million in guaranteed prizes. 2 ways to win, no rate. Circa Survivor contestants select one team each week with no point spread. Last the longest to win it all, $10 million guaranteed. In Circa Million, make 5 picks against the spread each week for your share of $6 million guaranteed. Quarterly and full season payouts. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere. Circasports.com for details. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-238-7633.
Hey kids, what are you getting your ever-loving dad for Father's Day?
I know, a motorized monster truck. How about the new Taylor Swift album? You would love it.
Yeah, I'm sure. How about something from Osted's Golf? Name brand apparel up to 50% off. Strixon balls at crazy deals. And dads always love an Osted's gift card.
You have been putting a lot of balls in the water.
Not after my custom fitting. I'm smashing everything.
You're good at that with a monster truck.
The Osted's Golf for Father's Day.
The Osted family would really appreciate it.
Nothing says summer better than corn, carnivals, and baseball. Come enjoy carnival games, food and drink specials, and watch the Storm Chasers play in their fan favorite Corn Chasers jerseys at our Wednesday night carnivals, presented by Nebraska Spine Hospital. You can also bring your canine friends to these games as part of our Park in the Park series. Visit OmahaStormChasers.com for more info.
Omaha Storm Chasers family. Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm with family.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, good Wednesday morning, everybody. It is the 5th of June. Hello. Sorry, the 5th of June.
Can't stop that month.
Coming up a little bit later, we'll talk about the red-hot Omaha Storm Chasers, who won again last night against the Memphis Redbirds. They are rolling. I think that's 7 in a row now. The Storm Chasers have won. They have their big runs tonight coming up on the Saturday, and Marty Cordero will join us at 8. We'll talk a little NHL Stanley Cup final at 8:30, and then Brandon Vogel stops by at about 9:40. The B guy from Turkey, Berkay. Berkay from Turkey is in for Nebraska. It had been done for a little bit. They figured out how to get the guy a little bit of money. You know, you might be seeing a lot of basketball camps in Turkey before he arrives in Lincoln.
That's where I watched more of the highlights of the FIBA.
But which was pretty good in that. He's an intriguing prospect. ESPN actually has him in their mock draft in 2025 as the 42nd overall pick.
Hey,
very, very raw. There's some interest there. It's part of constructing a very versatile roster that I think Hoiberg has done in the offseason. Hoiberg has constructed a roster that is for Fred Hoiberg, not for, hey, let's see if we're the top 20 portal rankings.
Right.
I mean, that's good. They swung for the fences on a couple of guys, but I think at the end of the day, they got what they needed. My only, and there's still some unknown because of, Gary and Williams are really the only two guaranteed guys, I think, across the board we'd all put in their starting lineup.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be good defensively. I don't think they will shoot the 3 ball as much. On the defensive end, the one area where I don't think they can replicate last year is how chaotic Josiah Alec was on defense.
I would agree.
Offensively, you can replace him.
He
consistently, he wasn't going to be a guy night in, night out. But defensively, he got after it, and he caused people some problems. I don't know that they've replaced that, but for the most part, they've filled in areas that were left vacant by departures or graduation. They got me intrigued. I think the offseason for Nebraska basketball has got me intrigued.
And I would echo that. If you look at the transfer additions that they put together, that if you're kind of look at a combination of Berkay, which I believe it is now, we finally got clarification that it's Bayuk Tungel. Berkay.
No, Bootengel.
Bootengel?
Yeah.
I thought there's a Yuk in there.
No, Bootengel.
Oh, this pronunciation guide is just.
Oh no,
it's led me astray.
Here in a little bit, I'm going to give you the ultimate Kent Pavelka starting 5 and how Kent would call it.
So between if you're looking at essentially a 6'9" forward stretch guy that can shoot it, or at least that's part of his MO, between he and then you look at Braxton Mia, who, based on what we saw from him at Washington, is going to be probably more valuable as a rim protector. And this is where I ask you more than what my assessment would be on Andrew Morgan from North Dakota State, because you saw him.
He'll start.
Gives you a little bit more of kind of a rink mass, right? Is a little bit more of an offensive big.
Yeah.
Than he would be as a defensive big.
I don't think he's going to step that far out of the paint.
Okay.
But they have
I see a combination of guys, though.
They have a
in
better
the paint.
shot of being good defensively at the rim.
And I think that's with a combination of some people there. When a lot of people, and Zach, I'm talking to you, a lot of people who wanted to see that true Big Ten big, or just that physical guy that can just hog up the paint, that's going to get 10 to 15 boards a night, that's going to be turning shots away and give you some offense. I feel like you've not necessarily got one guy that's going to give you that, as opposed to different options that are going to contribute to at some level when it comes to defensively in the paint. But given the makeup of this team too, if you go all the way back to when Fred got here, I felt like there was a lot more searching of what would be the right answer, as opposed to what Fred now realizes what works for him, what works in the system. And so if it's a roster for Fred and not necessarily a roster to appease any type of preseason top 25 forecast or any top half of the Big Ten forecast, that's fine. Yeah, because I think Fred knows what he needs right now.
Yeah, I think another thing, get old, stay old. And they're going to, again, be one of the older teams. But I also think there's something to be said about when you go into the portal, you acquire guys that were not run out of town.
Yeah.
They had players in front of them. They wanted more playing time. It's not like, Berkay was a bad dude.
Yeah,
and he was just ravaging Westwood. So they're like, Mick Cronin said, you got to go.
Yeah.
And so he's like, Lincoln seems like a place for me. There's a lot of Turkish history in Lincoln. Okay. But also, if you look at where guys have come from, there are, outside of Andrew Morgan coming from the Summit League, where he was second team Summit League, but I saw him enough. He's a good Summit League player. They're all Power 6 guys. So they have experience, whether they be in your own conference or, UCLA going up against Arizona, those kind of things. So I think there's like subtle things in putting this together. It's not like the sexiest thing.
Yeah.
It's more of like, let's get into a long-term relationship roster they put together instead of that quick flash and dash.
Yeah.
Now,
let's feel it out.
What I do have here is, and everybody, immediately when you get the pronunciation guide, you're like, oh, this could be great for Pavelka. Because that we all do this. I do this. And I feel really, really bad when I butcher a name.
I do too.
Even though the pronunciation guide is there.
Yes. And you think you're reading it verbatim for the pronunciation guide.
There was a really, really nice walk-on we had with Omaha. I mispronounced his last name for 3 years. It was in the pronunciation guide.
Yeah.
And so that's what I went off. And no one ever said anything.
Especially the student athlete.
Until his senior year. And his parents were so nice.
Yeah.
And they came up and they said, hey, thanks for doing the games. We love listening to you. Thanks for all the nice things we said about our son.
It's Fiddler, not Fielder.
But they said, our last name is pronounced this. And I was just melted. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
They were really, really nice. But now their son didn't play a lot, but he was a really, really nice guy. But yeah, for 3+ years, I mispronounced their last name. And then when they got to senior night, they're like, hey, man, we just want to thank you. But and he never played again, like the rest of that season. So I couldn't make a correction.
Yeah, of course. Now that I know how to pronounce his name, I blame the student athlete on this one. I don't care how nice you are, how good of a teammate you are, how good of a player you are. I blame, whether we're talking male or female athletes. I'm talking to you, athlete, first and foremost. It's your name. Trust me. Whether it's radio, PA, we want to get the name right. Now, I know coaches, they'll be told the right way to do it, and then they'll just, however they hear it in their head, that's how they go off of. But yes, we want to get your name right. So if we screw it up, you're not offending us.
Yeah, but we need easier names out there. Like parents. Like, make it easy, okay? Yep. Like Cardell Dick. That's an easy name to pronounce.
Yep.
Definitely one of my favorite names to announce as the PA guy. Cardell Dick. All right, this would be Pavelka doing,
especially if it goes long.
Doing Pavelka's favorite Nebraska basketball players, and one hasn't even played. He just officially joined Nebraska yesterday. And Berkay Butengel. So you would have Butengel would be outside of the 3-point line, and oh my gosh, here's Thor.
Yep.
Thorbjornsson drives into the lane. He kicks it out. Oh, he gives it back to the free throw line to Jordy Shamanga.
Yep.
Shamanga looking for an outlet, gives it back to Butengel. Butengel is surveying the defense, and oh my God, here comes Sergey off the bench. Vucevic. They work it around the top of the key, and they look inside, and it's a lob, and it's Woodrogo for the jam.
Ivan. Yes. God, I forgot about Ivan. How could I forget about Ivan? It's pretty good. And remember, Shimanga, the T is silent.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, man. Ivan Wadrago. I remember just thinking when he first joined, can we just call him Ivan Drago? I mean, I'm a huge Rocky IV fan, so I want to just call him Ivan Drago. And then we knew it was Wadrago.
One of the
really just that crushed me.
One of the best pronunciation moments on live TV must have been 17, 18. Nebraska's at the Big Ten Media Days. Tim Miles has got a couple of players there, and Dave Revson is looking. He goes, "How do you pronounce this guy's name?" And he asked the two players that were there, and one of them, because he like Thor had just kind of like shown up, and they're like, "I think it's just Thor."
That's what we call him.
And then Miles like tried to pronounce it.
Yeah, and
he like did it like 3 different times.
Yeah. I'm always amazed by.
But if you could have that fivesome playing while Pavelka's announcing a game, would he just give up and just go all first names?
Yes, he would.
Sergey,
and then he would try to come
Jordy.
up with fun little creative nicknames for them, so you didn't have to do that. Because he always referred to Thor as Thor. He never said Bjarnason.
Why can't we change the kid's name to Berkey? Berkey from Turkey.
Yeah, it should be Berkey. I mean, I look at that and I see Berkey. I don't see Berke.
And then also, when you first, if you've not, Nebraska's been involved with him for a while, and of note, Brazil from not Brazil, who was transferring from Arkansas, who Nebraska was attached to before they got involved with the Turkish man, put out a hype video yesterday to say that he's returning to Arkansas. I've never seen that before, but he's staying at Arkansas. So essentially, Nebraska's done in constructing the 24-25 roster. But if you have, broken down film of Berke from Turkey, which I'm just going to keep going.
From Turkey. It works.
When you see his picture yesterday as Jonathan over at NBA Draft Express, which he'll never come back on 1620 for some reason. So he used to come on all the time.
I don't know what you did.
I don't know. Him and
my time.
Him and Shane got into a disagreement. And
over just scheduling?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And he said, "I'm never coming back on your radio station."
Wow.
It was really, really odd. We've tried, and he's just ghosted us.
Wow.
But he put out he was the one that was the first to report that it was a done deal.
Yeah.
When you saw the picture of Berke, did you not think that possibly Doug McDermott had a brother that was in Turkey?
I'm glad you brought that up, because now the limited highlights that exist with him at UCLA, don't look at those. Look at the FIBA ones. He looks even more like him, and his mannerisms are very Doug-like.
So maybe that's a question. Look at Dylan Raiola is Pat Mahomes' son.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you ask him, is there any particular college basketball player from a decade ago that you watched and maybe mimicked your game when you were on the courts of Turkey playing basketball when you were about 8, 9, 10 years old? Was Creighton basketball very popular in Turkey back in the day?
It's like uncanny, by the way. Because
I
don't know if you can you can't mimic your face to look like the guy, but his mannerisms.
I think this is a fair question when he gets here.
No, the face. I mean, we're going from eyes to chin are almost spot on, but then you watch the way he moves around, and this is where, to your comparison to old number 15 in Kansas City and 15 in Lincoln, they kind of have the pitter patter feet, almost the pigeon toe-ish. And
Raiola doesn't run away from me. He's like, yeah, I've studied Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. Same haircut, obviously. And build is very similar too. And then you get we noticed this in the spring game too, when he was directing pre-snap, he got a little bit of this going on. When I saw his picture, this was a couple weeks ago, like it just kind of dawned on me, like kind of looks like Doug. And then, the UCLA profile picture that showed up yesterday, like he does look like him. But then if you watch his FIBA highlights, he kind of has that very upright movement when he's moving from in transition. So there's like mannerisms there. I don't know how big old Dougie McBuckets was in Turkey, Maybe a lot bigger. Maybe it's like Hasselhoff in Germany. I don't know. But there is, God can only hope if he could be as productive. That'd be amazing. But he looks like him.
A little bit raw, but he's
Yeah.
but the addition of him yesterday has really ticked off Mike Woodson. Thank you for Ryan to sharing this. Remember, Mike Woodson had trouble pronouncing Casey's first name.
Oh, yeah.
Brad Underwood as well.
Tom Izzo.
Now all of a sudden, Nebraska adds another guy that it's going to be awful difficult to pronounce his first name. Just go with Berkey from Turkey.
Berkey from Turkey. I hope a coach says that. Yeah, the kid Berkey from Turkey. That kid. Yeah, yeah, he's a problem. And if they're talking about the kid, that means things are going well with Berkey. If they're not talking about him, if they don't even have to bring him up, then yeah, unfortunately.
Are you satisfied with Nebraska's replacements? Have they been able to replace a Tominaga, a Jamarcus Lawrence, an Alec, a Mast for a year? They have finished. I think they're done. And they'll hold on to a scholarship. We'll discuss more of what Nebraska's makeup looks like moving forward. Plus, after the update with Jimmy, Omaha men's basketball and a connection to a Big East school. Yes, I will tell you about that when we come back in the next hour. You can always join the conversation on the 42 Degree The Source hotline, 402-951-1620, or the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary at 1620thezone.com.
Handley at 1620thezone.com.
How did Mike Woodson just butcher the hell out of Casey's first name?
But it was Izzo who said Tominagua. So Izzo has some problems there too.
That's why maybe coaches should just stick to the number.
Yep. Yeah.
And that 30 was killing us tonight.
Is it Tony White that does that? Doesn't Tony White, you just use numbers?
We used to get triggered because Bo would just do numbers.
Yeah, Bo would do.
And then he'd be like, hey, why don't you learn the name? He wouldn't do it for his players. But
right.
He's talking about other players, and he goes, hey, 57 looks like he's a really good linebacker off the edge.
I think that's a defensive thing. I really do. I think because I'm pretty sure Tony White does that a lot too.
You can always hop into the conversation on the Twitter feed, the X feed, JTech Construction Zone X feed. At Gary Sharp 1620.
At Nick Handley 1620.
All right, update with Jimmy coming up, and Omaha and a Big East school had a little run-in. We'll discuss that when we come back. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. In addition to the lane restrictions on Pacific both directions between 122nd and 124th, southbound 84th from about K Street to L Street is down to one lane for utility work right now. Luckily, no accidents or any slow-moving traffic on the roads. Just remember to stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
We are excited to announce the grand opening of Saul's Jewelry and Loan's new downtown location. It's a Saul's shopping experience like you've never seen. Amazing jewelry finds at our famous best-in-town prices. Tools, bikes, guitars. 22nd and Hardy, downtown Omaha, Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Some people think business banking is only about transactions. But at Emprise, we don't view money as an end game. We see it as an engine. It's who we are. Transforming ideas into IPOs, turning potential into profit. Emprise is next generation business banking, where we help money work for you, not the other way around. That's the power of possible. Visit emprisebank.com to learn more. Member FDIC.
Funplex has asked me to give you a first-hand account of the all-new for 2024 Wipeout attraction.
Okay, hit it.
We're starting up. Spinning a little now. Whoa, a lot.
The centrifugal force is starting to stretch my face.
Holy this thing's fast.
Whoa, it's tilting. We have tilting. Woohoo, this is awesome. You got to try this. Get your tickets now at fun-plex.com.
Looking for tickets to the hottest events? Look no further than Tickets for Less. TFL has tickets to everything from college baseball championships to Husker football, concerts, and more, all with no hidden fees. Plus, score extra savings with promo code THEZONE now at ticketsforless.com.
There is only one constant in the universe, and that's change.
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists.
I'm sure many of you remember the incredibly low interest rates that were available only a few years ago. Well, things changed. Now rates are higher. But would you believe me if I told you there was a time when people were paying double-digit rates? And that's the thing. Everything changes. Rates go up, rates go down. So if you're waiting for the perfect time when rates drop before you buy a home, you might miss out on the home you really want. So when you think about it, what's a thing today might not be a thing tomorrow. See? Change is good. I'm Brent Rasmussen. Call me at Mortgage Specialists, and we can show you all the details. Mortgage Specialists. Driven, trusted, reliable.
Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, Equal Housing Lender. Are Nebraska craft beers and ciders important to you? Whether you just love Nebraska brewed beers and ciders or you're a full-fledged craft brewery, there are benefits to membership for anyone with the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild. Their sole mission is to foster and help grow the Nebraska-centric brewing community. Become a member today at nebraska.beer and help advance the craft beer and cider industry in the state of Nebraska. Find out more about the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild at nebraska.beer.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
What to do?
I'll be your music today.
You guys could just start humming NFL films. I like that.
I will buy both of you lunch if you can tell me what I just...
Was that Hockey Night in Canada?
You're out?
I'd have to hear it again, but I bet you I could get it.
They lost to the Yankees last night. We're gonna win,
Oh.
Twins.
Oh,
We're
the
gonna-
Twins.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're
see,
gonna
if
win,
you would've-
Twins. What's up, baseball score? Knock out a home run.
Yeah.
Shout a hip hooray. Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today. You know, when you work for the Twins, you must memorize that song.
Is that like your Pledge of Allegiance every morning in the office?
God, I heard that so many times because that's what they used to take the field. Well, they still do, but it's a different version. That's how they took the field. We're gonna win, Twins.
Oh.
We're gonna score. We're gonna win, Twins. What's that baseball score?
I bet
Knock
they're
out
fired
a
up.
home run. Shout a hip hooray. Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today. And then Bob Casey would come in and go, "Welcome to the Metrodome."
Man, people were fired up to hear that broadcast.
If he had given me an extra day, I'd have gotten all this.
Shocked that they lost to the Yankees last night. They never beat the Yankees.
This goes back many years. Back to the Metrodome. Nebraska pitchers Brett Sears and Drew Christo are academic. By the way, thoughts and prayers to Ant-Man and the Wolves. That was heartbreaking. They earned academic all-district recognition on Tuesday. Sears will advance to the national ballot and be considered for academic All-America accolades while posting a 3.65 grade point average in child, youth, and family studies. Hey, I had that same GPA if you combine 2 semesters together. Christo was named the academic all-district team never lost a party, though, for a second straight season after holding a 3.88 GPA in biological sciences. The 2024 academic all-district baseball team right now, who cares? Anyway, Cam Devaney and John Ray have hit solo home runs in the bottom of the 7th inning to put the Storm Chasers out in front. They win a 4-3 win over the Redbirds of Memphis last night at Werner Park. The Storm Chasers are 40-16. Pretty damn cool. Their 10th one-run win since May 1st. They'll do it again tonight at 7:05. Should be an absolutely gorgeous night. There's your positivity. Put it in your pipe and smoke. It's going to be a beautiful day. 85, low humidity, not a cloud in the sky. My pasty ass will be at the pool by 11:30. All right. Fans wishing to visit Memorial Stadium this fall have an additional ticket option with a Husker football 3-game mini plan now available. The mini plan gives Nebraska fans an offer, yeah, you missed it all, to customize their own ticket packages for the upcoming football season. Fans will choose one of 2 non-conference games, either UTEP or Northern Iowa. Wait, there's one missing from there. Not going to be that easy. The package also includes one of the first 2 Big Ten games, the Friday night Illinois game, very intriguing, or against Big Ten superpower Rutgers October 5th, and the final option of the 3-game package, pretty good games, November 2nd against UCLA or the 23rd against Wisconsin. The cost of the 3-game package is $170. You know how to find that stuff out if you live here. In the NFL, running back Christian McCaffrey, the NFL's reigning offensive player of the year, has reset the running back market for the second time in about 4 years, signing a 2-year contract extension with your San Francisco 49ers. The Niners announced the deal. They did not disclose financial terms, and hint, he's rich. Not long after sources said averages $19 million over the 2 added years was done. He deserves every bit of it. It's pretty damn good. They added $8 million over what McCaffrey was scheduled to make in 24 and 25, while adding $24 million in guarantees. Scott Foster, Tony Brothers, Mark Davis, and James Capers were among the 12 game officials chosen to work the NBA Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. The NBA announced the selection yesterday, 2 days before Game 1 in Boston. Also selected were Zach Zarba, John Goble. You have their trading cards. This is great for you. David Guthrie, Bill Kennedy, Josh Tiven, Courtney Kirkland, James Williams, and Kevin Scott. Where is Jack Madden? Where's Jake O'Donnell? Where's Jess Kersey? Where's Joey Crawford? Where's Daryl Garrettson? Rest in peace. He was very nice to me when I was a kid. If your name wasn't listed, you're not invited or wanted. Hey, know the feeling. Game 1 is tomorrow night in Boston. I just hope both teams lose. Finally, week 1 of the CFL begins tomorrow night as Montreal and Winnipeg, the organizations, look to out-rouge each other. This is a much-anticipated rematch of last year's Grey Cup won by the Alouettes, who celebrated by bathing in poutine and Labatt Blue. And as Nick, you know, Canadian beers like moonshine.
Hell yes. That's all I can contribute to that. Hell yes.
And 87 days until Husker football. Thank you, Rick.
And we are counting.
87 days away, and I don't know if we can help ourselves because FanDuel, the odds have actually gotten better for the over. Plus 110 now for over 7.5.
This isn't us pushing it, by the way. This is Vegas. This is the national narrative. This is not us. So I when you guys were both gone, we got into I didn't dabble in the win totals. I just said here at the station, the consensus felt like now I believe didn't Bishop hint during the spring roundtable that he might go as high as 8 or 9?
Somebody
he wasn't on record
I
doing it, but he said
I think he went 9.
Yes.
Ooh.
I think I brought this up. I said the consensus amongst most of the hosts here at 1620 The Zone was right around 7. I got people saying, how could you even trust 7? And look, I think 7's a good number. It's still the under, and yet it's the national push that you continue to hear about Nebraska and what they could do, and it could be a potential breakthrough season or even the anonymous coaches breakdown of Nebraska said it's going to be a breakthrough. The question is how much of a breakthrough will it be? This isn't us, folks.
I think that's fair, though.
So just go at them on it.
That line there is fair. Not saying you're going to say 9 and 3, but breakthrough. It's just a matter of how much.
Yeah.
Still sticking with 7 until proven otherwise, but I understand. I get it.
Actions speak louder than words.
I could see going to 8, but I'm not doing that on June, whatever the hell the date is.
People want to push it.
It helps to have the best PR head coach in the history of Nebraska athletics.
Mm-hmm.
Who's also got a couple of things that would make you shift to going over, whether it be
his defensive coordinator,
home games to start the year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Normalcy, as you brought up yesterday.
Defense. And the bottom line, when you sift through everything, is Nebraska with competent quarterback play last year might win 8 games.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you're gonna, if you just have competent quarterback play, and then Superman puts on his cape a couple of times this year, then you know where you're going.
See, you're making me start to think, maybe I'm being too.
No, you called Ramir Superman.
No. We'll get to him because he's featured.
He is
prominently in the 3rd episode of Chasing 3. Kyle writes in, do you think the number will get pushed to 8 before the season? I want to get my under bet in, but would love some breathing room.
I don't think so.
You'll probably stay at 7.5. I'm on 7 and 5, and here, there's plenty of time between now and then to break all this down.
Plus, the video game will come out, so we'll really get to do some scouting.
I'm looking at 2024 as the groundwork for 2025. Now you can't go 5 and 7 again,
right?
And even 6 and 6 and go, hey man, I can't wait for 2025. In my opinion, 2024 sets up 2025. So there you go.
Yeah,
there you
go.
Okay, all right.
Look at it. Positive. I love it.
Then listen to the tune we're singing after that.
Well, then it's a legit tune.
It is.
It's because this is, even though they return a ton of starters, they are still a very young football program. I mean, they're more bottom heavy than top heavy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you prefer your women, but that's what Nebraska football's roster is.
Well,
right now,
my dating experience would tell you that.
Oh,
yeah, I'm listening.
Again, dating experience would tell you that.
Whoa,
it was a little bit more bottom heavy.
So Queen was onto something.
Wasn't by choice. That's just the way it went. sometimes.
Yes, man.
But I
All
was,
right.
I was never, strictly Cosmo Kramer. But there was a run where that's just what happened back in the day.
We like what we like.
Mm-hmm. I think we all go through phases.
And this is why I'm glad
or
I'm back.
Or trends. I don't even, again, it's not intentional. It's just, hey, when you connect, you connect.
That's how I looked at it. You know what? When I go fishing, I like to go walleye fishing.
Oh, yeah.
If I happen to catch like a trout or a bullhead,
like not my type, or you're like, no, we connected.
You know, and I'm just glad somebody bit.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's all I'm saying.
I mean, look at me. I'm nothing special, but I do have a pretty good rod, and I would cast that thing out.
I've heard.
Probably on the message boards.
Hey, if you win 10-6, it's still a win.
Yes, it is. You know what? Gosh dang it. Thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome.
I have failed all of you listeners yesterday.
Hmm?
I am so sorry. I did this to our listeners. I didn't realize it until the birds were chirping at 2:15 in the afternoon.
You missed 6-4 day, didn't you?
Yes. We
Even
did
I
not
did.
properly celebrate for our Iowa fans that listen to the show and interact with us and get attacked by the corn mob on Twitter. Yesterday was a very, very special day for you because it was 6-4 day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one of the greatest moments in the history of Iowa football. I thought
and college football.
I thought the 85 Iowa-Michigan game that I was at that Rob Houtland hit a game-winning field goal was one of the better days. And then the Mount Everest of sicko games in 2004 when Iowa beat Penn State by a score of 6-4.
20th anniversary this year. We should do something to commemorate it.
They tried to top that against South Dakota State.
Oh, that would have been that's the holy trinity of sicko games.
Yeah. What was
that Sun Bowl that was scoreless at the end of regulation with Virginia Tech, where Beamer's celebrating? That's a good one.
Well, yeah, because special teams were huge in that game.
Now
field position was at a premium.
The thing that always stands out about that 6-4 game is you would think that Iowa scored a touchdown and they missed an extra point.
Mm-hmm.
No, they hit a couple of field goals.
Yeah,
kickers matter.
2 field goals, 2 safeties in that game.
Penn State defense.
And they've come full circle, really, offensively, which is great.
They have.
Not much has changed if you look at the defense and the offense.
That's called consistency. We should all strive for that.
Here we are 20 years later.
There are a lot of people that say, hey, man, Nebraskans and Iowans have, like a lot of differences. And we do. Our corn is better. Our beef is better.
Mm-hmm.
Our lifestyle is better.
But you have a better state fair.
Yeah, you have a better state fair.
You have Caitlin Clark.
You have Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
We have Britt Prince.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the next.
All right.
Caitlin Clark.
You guys make me very happy to be back in Nebraska.
Here's what we can agree on as we all meet at the casino in Council Bluffs.
There we go.
Is you have your 6-4 day. Our day comes in September on 9-4 day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I told you a little nugget here.
Yes, this is what I want to hear.
A little basketball. So it's school's back in session. Creighton is out on the floor. Omaha's on the floor. Nebraska gets going on Monday. Seems like college basketball never ends. But there is an interesting thing when it comes to scheduling that's going on that I was alerted to yesterday in the college basketball world. So a lot of the Power 6 schools have been very active in the portal and recruiting has started, that they've been slow with their scheduling. And as a result, these mid-major programs that got fleeced by the Power 6 in the portal world are holding them hostage and are saying, that's going to cost you $110,000 for us to play. So
good on them.
The mid-majors are fighting back because the Power 6s have been a little bit slow in non-conference scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, opening night of the college basketball season is November 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Omaha was approached by a Big East school to be their opener.
Okay.
At Madison Square Garden?
No.
Just taking a guess. I know nothing here.
Not even downtown.
In stores?
UConn approached Omaha
Wow.
He
to
loves
have
Omaha.
as their opener on November 4th in Stores, Connecticut.
Wow.
Sharpie and Dan Hurley. Sign me up.
As you might imagine, it was a big no. Even though there probably would have been a
were they
rather
offering?
large 6 figures.
Yeah.
But Omaha is not.
They don't want to be part of another banner raising night.
I just feel like if you guys had palm trees, we'd
Not
be
saying
in.
Omaha in general, another, but UConn putting another.
Were we there on a KU opening night?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys would have to tell me that.
No, I don't believe so. Because the one,
We did open
the
up
first
there
one was in
2
December.
years ago. 2 years ago, we opened up there.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, then that would have been. That would have been, yeah.
I don't think they raised a band. Yeah, they did. They had a big ceremony before the game.
That's right. I do. I now do.
And
remember.
with 12 minutes to go in that game, Omaha had a lead.
Yeah.
Or they were
That's-
within 6.
Fans were streaming out for K10.
Jayhawk overreaction was probably
Yeah.
blazing that night.
Yeah, so UConn wanted Omaha as their opener to raise a banner. And
What do you think that would have fetched price wise if they say yeah?
I mean, it would be north of 100,000. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
like
Like 750.
I don't know.
They're
Probably,
not like 200,000.
so no.
Okay.
No.
You're
It
not
would
gonna pay
be
that-
it would
that type
be
of money.
probably low 100s.
Okay.
Omaha's already got Iowa State on the schedule.
Oh, that's much
That- but,
more fun.
but they owe them because they had a game canceled because of the weather.
Oh, that's right.
So they
yeah.
owe they owe
Okay.
Iowa State a game. So they're going to play that game.
Hilton's way.
They already
way
cashed
more
that
fun.
check, so they owe them.
Yeah.
Good.
That's right. Adam reminds me the KU Omaha game, which was the debut of Chris Crutchfield. Hey, coach, welcome back to your alma mater. Your openers at Allen Fieldhouse. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about this
Like
because
Terry Allen?
because the giveaway was pieces of the floor.
Oh.
So I have a couple of pieces of the Allen
Oh.
the floor, the Final Four floor in New Orleans.
Yeah.
What did they?
No.
Yeah, it was New Orleans.
It was New Orleans.
Yeah, because San Antonio was 08, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah,
And it's
so
a
they
25.
they gave out pieces of the floor that night. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. That was the opener for KU. Omaha didn't want to play that game again with UConn this year.
I can understand that.
Allen way better than
you're-
Gamble.
You're being a part of another celebration and a welcome to the show type thing, and UConn is going to be okay. But
Speaking of scheduling, Creighton's schedule is ridiculous. So one of the hottest and most difficult tickets to get, but Creighton fans do like money.
Kansas.
Do like money. Will be the KU game.
Yeah.
December 4th. Then you have December 14th, Creighton goes to Alabama.
Mhm.
And then you look at the Vegas tournament. I mean, Creighton will have, like, if Creighton's season doesn't go so well and maybe they're like on the bubble, which I don't think they will be,
Mhm.
they're going to get a bump from the schedule. I mean, their non-con schedule is going to be one of the more, maybe it might not be the most difficult, but it'll have the most like, oh man, look who they played.
Right.
They played this, and this. They will play. I mean, and then you throw in 2 games against UConn.
Mm-hmm.
Creighton will have to be the only team in the country, really of recent memory, that is not a mid-major, that is a Power 6 member, that on their schedule, they will have maybe the top 3 preseason top 25 teams.
Yeah. And
'Cause
really,
they'll have KU for sure,
Mhm.
for sure KU, for sure Alabama, and a couple of games against UConn.
with what happened with the draft deadline, the guy, and it wasn't a big shock, with Sears withdrawing from the NBA draft, but Kansas has been that pretty much consensus from the time we ended the season. Well, I take that back. Not when we ended the season, but when we saw what they were able to get, including like a guy like Storr, and you get Hunter back, all of those pieces they have. But Alabama, that gap and where people are wanting to put them at number 1, you get those 2 teams right out of the first month and a half of the season alone. And then, yeah, it's a good point, because then we forget about, okay, what does the non-con look like? Well, that's pretty impressive. Nebraska's going to be no slouch either. And then you get what you have already in conference play too. Jesus. Yeah, that's a road right there. But you're right. If you find yourself, that's a saving grace right there. If you find yourself in a little bit of a down to Creighton standard year, that's huge for them.
Yeah.
It's a good year to have that.
There's another story out there concerning basketball when you brought up Alabama, because Charlie Reitzel was after the Final Four. I don't know if kids go to school anymore. Like,
I don't think so.
Like I asked Fiddler this.
If they do, they have the
So
Mahomes haircut.
once the season was over for Omaha and Frankie was trying to figure out what he's doing, he basically spent like the last 5 weeks in Phoenix. I'm like, online. I mean, we could never do online. I mean,
no,
kids do online. That's how they do.
It's the norm now.
There were like all the Omaha guys that are elsewhere playing college basketball basically have spent the last month here in Omaha getting runs in. Like there are some like stories that have leaked out of like these great games that the local college guys have been playing. Yeah. And then I don't know that they were involved because they came back. They worked a camp on Friday over at AEF. But this past weekend, if you were downtown, you were probably doing a double take because Art Kaluma and Ryan Nemhard were back in town.
Doing a camp, right?
Well, on Friday at AEF, they worked a camp.
Yeah.
But then they
basketball.
They were hanging out in downtown Omaha.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute.
I think they were at Let It Fly.
Oh, even better.
So if you were a Creighton fan sitting at Let It Fly on Saturday,
are you doing a podcast?
Are you conflicted?
Because they were there with Coach Miller. Like you were like,
wait a minute.
Getting the band back.
Boy, Ashworth is going to be ticked off.
Guy's married. He's got a kid. He's made a home here. And this is the thanks I get? My God.
Now Nemhard's coming back.
I don't even know how excited people were to see Kaluma back. Nemhard for sure. Kaluma. Kaluma.
I liked Art.
Was, okay, remember the NCAA tournament game against Kansas?
Best game that Art Kaluma ever played.
Yes. Remember his stock after that game? The conversation after that game about Art Kaluma?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. People could not get enough of them, some Art Kaluma. And then by the end of the following season, like, yeah, he can go.
Okay, so Kaluma pulled his name out of the draft last week.
Mm-hmm.
Is he a free agent?
Yes.
Okay, so he's not going back to Kansas State. I noticed they just added a 7-footer from Kentucky. So Art Kaluma actually is a free agent.
Yeah.
Creighton fans?
You get the bounce back? Off the bounce back? Has that ever happened? It could, right? You could. Is there anything?
Yeah, there was a guard at North Dakota who was the freshman of the year in the summer league.
Yeah.
Went to James Madison, came back this past year to North Dakota, and then guess what? He left. He went to Wyoming, and then their coach left, and now he's at Washington.
All right, Tate Martell.
Good
Lord.
Wow, he just upgraded completely going to Seattle. I thought he was going to go to NDSU.
Well, then that answers my question. There's nothing stopping that from happening. Not within the NCAA guidelines. Oh, wow. What would that be like?
No, I don't think you need to even entertain that.
Well, let's just ask Mac first and foremost. What would you think about that?
Pop Isaacs, what do you think about this? The baby birds, what do you think about this?
Yeah, come on, guys.
Yeah. All right, 7:30.
Winner.
We'll get into some football because there is quite the discussion going on about the new phase of college athletics after the House settlement, and in particular, college football. Some of you might use Ozempic to trim the fat. College athletics can't just all of a sudden just put the shot in.
Yeah.
They're going to have to do something else. But I got a scenario for you as this discussion of killing walk-ons in college football continues. The walk-on restaurant gets stronger. The walk-on program in college football gets weaker. It's a weird dynamic.
Thanks, Drew.
It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All right, the NBA playoffs are here. You know. Oh, yes, you know. And they start tomorrow night. Dallas is a 6.5-point underdog against Boston. The favorites have done really well in the first game. And right now, with FanDuel, you can get $150 back in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet as you take on the NBA Finals with FanDuel.
Let Luka be the villain we all deserve. What is his total line going to be? Well, you can go same game parlays, you can go live bets, much more, get into the second half action, however you want to get involved with the NBA Finals. No better place to bet all of the action than America's #1 sportsbook. Go to FanDuel.com, use the promo code ZONE to get started and take a shot at an extra $200. That's FanDuel.com/zone. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com. Previously on The Crossover.
I opened up my fortune cookie last night, and on the front it says, here you can download a bunch of music. And then on the back, there's a QR code for Napster.
Yeah, fortune cookies used to be fun, whimsical. At the end of your chicken fried rice, you're like, boop, boop, boop.
Boop, boop, boop. That's exactly what I did
we had
last night.
Chinese the other night. I don't think we ever got fortune cookies.
Even worse.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides. From the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny, breezy, and warm for Wednesday. Expect west winds gusting 20 to 30 miles per hour with temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 80s. Can't rule out a stray shower late in the day, though most will remain dry. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. In addition to the lane restrictions, Pacific both directions between 122nd and 124th, as well as southbound 84th from K Street to L Street, traffic is picking up a bit I-80 westbound right now between Giles and NE Highway 50. Look for traffic to build up a little bit more over the next hour. Any updates, and I will get them to you. Stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
Time-saving traffic is brought to you by Pyramid Roofing.
If you've seen the white trucks with Rufus, the spotted dog, then you know about Pyramid Roofing. Replace your siding, windows, roof, or gutters. Call Pyramid Roofing at 402-502-9300 or visit
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less. Host is roasting every morning.
At Host Coffee Services, every cup of coffee served comes with a promise of quality, innovation, and a dash of fun, ensuring your workday is as delightful as your coffee break. Call Host Coffee Services today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee Services is always roasting something good for you.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
At Cox Mobile, we know you're smart. You brush your teeth in the shower to save time, make coffee ice cubes for your cold brew, and wear goggles to cut onions. You also added Cox Mobile. So smart. Now you're running on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability and saving on your Cox internet. It's ingenious, just like you.
Aw, thanks.
Cox Mobile, the smart way to mobile. Cox postpaid internet required. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. through H2023. Other restrictions apply. Learn more at cox.com/mobile.
On Saturday, June 8th, from Council Bluffs, Iowa, All Elite Wrestling presents Collision. This is professional wrestling. Live every moment.
We are doing this for you.
As professional wrestling's biggest stars bring a Saturday night fight to the Mid-America Center.
AEW is where the best wrestle.
AEW Collision, live Saturday, June 8th, from Mid-America Center in Council Bluffs. Tickets on sale now at AEWTIX.com.
Adam and Eve is not giving you 10% off and not 20% off or even 40%. Your discount is even bigger. AdamandEve.com is giving you a whopping 50% off. But why stop there? In addition to 50% off, you also get 10 free gifts. That includes a racy item for him, a sensuous toy for her, and something we know you'll both enjoy. Ooh. And 6 extra special bonus items that are sure to rev your engine, pique your curiosity, and even blow you away. And best of all, free shipping. Always delivered in discreet packaging. So rethink your bedroom routine. Go to adamandeve.com and enter this station's exclusive code at checkout, free66, and get, you know the discount, 50% off almost any item and 10 tantalizing free gifts. That's free66. Again, free66.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 12th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, we're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, I saw they're offering tours of the Chuck during the College World Series. Like,
whoa,
cost you like $10.
Oh,
You can have your picture taken with John Bishop while he's working on the air.
That's pretty neat.
Come sit on his lap.
Just
don't talk to him.
Wow.
Where would be the
really neat.
place? So, not really for
People be in awe.
local fans.
Yeah. No.
I would they?
No.
I think maybe going in the dugout on the field would be pretty cool for a fan that is visiting that takes a tour, but you can't go in the I guess you could go in the clubhouses because they'll be empty before teams arrive.
Yeah, that's always.
I mean, I guess you could
something.
walk down from the clubhouse down that long hallway,
into the
past the batting cages.
Yeah,
I think
But even
maybe going on the field would be the highlight of a tour of the CWS stadium.
even the cage is it's there. But, it's kind of below you as you're walking by. Is this
the first time they've offered tours of the College World Series stadium?
The reason I chuckle, and I'm sure at some point, because he is a very dedicated listener, Jay, in the stream, that anytime we bring up Charles Schwab Field, he really gets on us. He advocates for Charles Schwab Field. He loves it. I don't know. Maybe he works there. Maybe he was one of the original designers. I don't know. But when I think of so one of the most recent tours I ever did, because I still have never seen an actual baseball game, there was Fenway. Well, I mean, come on, it's Fenway. Like that's a tour. I mean, that's got history. It's got a lot of quirks to it. You've got the Green Monster. You've got different parts of that stadium that you just have to see. Even as rickety as the press box. I mean, all those things are really, I think, interesting. Wrigley would be another one. Even the newer version of Yankee Stadium, all those things, they have their own identity, charm, certain things. What would a tour through Charles Schwab Stadium, Charles Schwab Field, what would be the ultimate attention getter?
I think going on the field. I don't think anywhere else.
Yeah.
I like to go in the dugout, sit in the dugout, see that view
point
or vantage point, and then walk on the field. Other than that,
feel the spongy grass.
Probably nothing else. But they are offering tours for the ACC invite that'll be here next week. Half the field will be from the ACC, and you're going to have to like it.
It's okay. Hey, you know what? I think people locally would be okay with that. Take a little break from the SEC dominating the College World Series. That's fine.
This is an honest question. I would like an honest answer from y'all, because there is a lot of discussion now with the House settlement and what's college athletics going to look like with revenue sharing. A lot of chirping on cutting the fat, the excess, especially in college football, where some rosters are out of control. Others can't even get to filling 85 scholarships. That's a big point of not everybody fills 85 football scholarships.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that are going on about limitations because there's going to be some money issues. But the football roster size is a big one that is going on right now that may lead to butting of heads between the SEC and the Big Ten. And it has been now out there for about a month about the walk-on program in college football being greatly reduced or in some cases eliminated completely. We know the value of the walk-on from the Nebraska standpoint. Nebraska football was elevated because of the walk-on program. Maybe not elevated is the right word. It has been a key complementary piece to the success of Nebraska football.
It's a contributing factor for sure.
And there are so many stories of walk-ons who became scholarship athletes or became some of the best players ever to play football at Nebraska. It's 2024. College football rosters look different. If you woke up tomorrow and they said there is no more walk-on program, how honestly would you feel? I said the value of the walk-on program across college football, too much. There are too many people that are just hanging on. Sorry, it's a business. Gotta go. But we're going to give you 90 scholarships instead of 85. How would people feel if the walk-on program was across the board eliminated, but we're giving you 5 more scholarships?
Initially, I think you're very disappointed. Initially, for me and yourself as well, growing up in that era of seeing how important it is and it being well documented of those stories. But I'll answer a question with another question. Is that yesterday's school of thought when it came to college football and how we enjoyed it? Because it's different, I think, in Nebraska because it is celebrated, I think, much more than the majority, if not all, of college football. But when you go through that first year and you don't have the walk-ons, but you see guys that would otherwise have been in that walk-on profile, finding landing spots at other places, and maybe even getting some money to attend. And I know we can get in the NIL scholarship / walk-on, but I think you would. My answer is you'd move past it pretty fast. I think you would. I think initially it would be, dare I say, devastating because of what it's meant to this particular football program and its history. But as everything is not only changing, but changing so fast, the way that we consume it, the way that we recognize college football, to me, it would be another one of those things that we're not happy about it, but we have to grin and bear it because that's what college football is now.
Would small-town Nebraska revolt against
initially
college football? Because you're taking away their walk-on.
Yep.
So Johnny down the street, who's always wanted to be a Husker, doesn't get an opportunity to walk on at Nebraska and have his version of Rudy. And you're playing Friday night high school football. Screw Nebraska. I'm just going to be about the NFL. I don't think you'll see a full elimination of the walk-on program. Now, granted, the walk-on program is much different today than it was even a decade ago. We grew up around here when you had 180 guys and you had a JV roster.
Right.
There were good stories about walk-ons that had key roles and were used properly.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's changed a little bit. And, you got to look in the mirror. If you're a scholarship guy, man, that guy that doesn't have a scholarship is better than me. That's where I would start going, you know what? Our 85, 90 scholarships, the guys that aren't contributing are on scholarship. Some of them are not. We got to make a trade.
Yep.
But I don't think the walk-on program will go away. But I think the abundance and the excess of rosters, cutting expenses, curtailing expenses, the best way to say it, is going to happen. But a manageable roster to me is about 110 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Nebraska still has a large roster, not as large as Scott wanted or has been in the past. They are using it more to get reps for more frontline guys. Or you don't have an abundance of players that everybody can get a lot of reps.
Right.
Okay? So you don't have 190 guys that are waiting in line. So I think they understand how to use numbers on a roster a little bit better. But here's my other question, because I think there'll be a trade-off. We're going to put a cap on your roster limit, but we're going to give you 5 extra scholarships. But you can only have 110 guys on your roster, which right now that's 25 non-scholarship players. That seems like a lot to me, but you have to use them the right way. I wonder if you press coaches, because coaches are going to say the right thing. They're like, no, do not take away the heart and soul of what college football was built on, and that is the player that feels like they have a chip on their shoulder and they come to your program and they work their butt off and they beat out other guys and they get their opportunity, or they're just glad to be there. They want to contribute. They're not going to be a cancer in the locker room. What if you said to coaches, all right, you've got a choice to make, because we got to trim some fat. All right, we got to build up the coffers because there's this thing called revenue sharing. and fiscal restraint, which some people can't help themselves, and so they need somebody else to step in, and you are, nicked because of that. What if you said to a coach, Coach, you got two options. You could either cut some of your staff, not on field, but staff or players. Looking at what gives you the best ability to win, you say to a coach, the coaches, what do you want to trim? Your staff, your internal staff, or players?
Players. And I think that's just look at the current trend right now, where we're talking about the unlimited possibility of how many people you can have on staff, and at some point who can be on the field and help in coaching. And you look at the trend now where we're talking about eliminating roster size, but increasing scholarship opportunities. So we're seeing it go in a completely different direction. That's not led by, in my opinion, that is not led by people that have no skin in the game. That's not led by voices that are irrelevant when it comes to college football. That's coming, to me, that's coming from voices of people that are in the college football circles that are part of the coaching circle as well, because I think they understand that. I think that's the whole part about the walk-on conversation too, is you have to shift your thinking when it does come to that. We've seen that here in Nebraska. When I was growing up, if there was a walk-on story, 2 or 3 guys starting as a walk-on, that was the most celebrated thing. It was the coolest thing. You know why? Because they were winning still. Because the other guys that were on scholarship that were also on the 2 deep or were part of your starting 11 on each side of the football were damn good. But then remember, in the last 10 years, if we heard about a walk-on that was making his way in the top of the depth chart, we started wondering what the hell's going on with this roster. We have too many walk-ons that are starting. That tells me a little bit about talent evaluation. That tells me a little bit about development here too, where the guys that you're bringing in on scholarship, your 3- and 4-star guys coming in on scholarship, aren't being developed. Why are we hearing more about walk-ons? So a lot of that is the perception of where those programs are right now. But I think as a whole in college football, I think if you just look at what is being discussed right now, to me, that's maybe I'm way off on this, but to me, that's being spearheaded by coaches, that we want limitless opportunities when it comes to staff, so we can build basically these, what you see in NFL organizations. And look at what a roster size is in the NFL, 53. Why can't we do that with just 90 to 100?
Well, I mean, I don't think that's a good comparison, because guys that are playing college football, their bodies are not ready.
Sure. Well,
so it's a
true,
developmental
yeah.
league.
That's fair. That's fair.
I wouldn't use the NFL size of a roster.
But I think the amount of people that are available from a staff standpoint, of how you can get into your scouting department, you can get into your actual coaches, your analysts, all of those things that I think there's so much more value in from the head coach right now, that they look at having all of these different ways of not only developing their own roster, but being able to attack a future opponent as well.
I think the value of the walk-on is not appreciated by the majority in college football that coach. The guy in Lincoln, and whoever follows will always understand the value of the walk-on at a place like the University of Nebraska in a state of 1.9 million, where that is the only Division I football program.
Yeah.
But I think across the board, younger coaches who, maybe they were a walk-on, but they're like, nope, everything's about the scholarship. About the scholarship. Because I don't have time for the non-scholarship guy. We don't know how to manage a walk-on program. We turn those guys into blocking dummies.
Yeah.
Instead of, let's turn these guys into football players. Instead of guys that just spend their career on a scout team.
Yeah.
We've invited them to come play football here for a reason. Let's see if they can play football. Let's give them opportunities to play real football, not play football where you're learning somebody else's plays.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think fewer and fewer coaches understand what you can do. Now, the coaches that get it, they're able to add that to their scholarship guys, and it enhances their entire roster. I'm on a big kick here of, you could look at the top of the roster. Man, the teams that are going to win, even the Georgias and the Ohio States, their head coach does pay quite a bit of attention to the bottom of the roster. Instead of, hey, let's just get the best 12 guys and let's just roll the dice and go out and win. I want a guy that says, hey, I love my starting 22. But boy, we're going to now start playing 14-game seasons and 16-game seasons. And those last 22 guys are going to be vitally important as well. But then there's the other caveat. Now, if some of those guys on the last 22 are not living up to expectations, gots to go situation. I think that's also where college athletics is going. And this moves into the power chair, is you will look at everything of what is your return on investment?
Yeah.
What is your return on investment from a player to a program is, I think, the next phase in college athletics of how you will eyeball them if you are in that role to make those decisions.
You mentioned something that, and I don't think we discussed this too much. Remember when a lot of Nebraska's personnel outside of the immediate coaching staff was doing sort of the media carousel, and Sean Padden spoke. There was one thing that I did, because I'll admit, I've been more the mindset of, does it matter as much when it comes to walk-ons, even at University of Nebraska, and how they use them compared to previous years. He said something that reiterated that they are looking out for those guys to be put in a position that if they're able to develop, that they're going to have an impact. When he talked about something as simple as what the scout team is running and how they're more the language. So it's not necessarily, hey, we're playing Penn State this week, so we are using Penn State calls. We're using their overall formations on how Penn State designs them. We're using our language, everything that we use internally from our offense and defense. We're just using a similar type of scheme that, say, Penn State is using, just to use that as an example. I don't think that gets discussed enough, too, because I think there's always that stereotype of, if you're on the scout team, you're essentially Iowa that week, or you're Penn State that week, and you're that player that they've got to key in on. And then you're going to make calls that Iowa makes. I thought it was refreshing just to hear how, when Sean Padden talked about how they are utilizing that scout team to have them prepared that if they do have to step up in a situation within maybe a week, within a day, or even the following year, that they're still very much versed with what is going on with Nebraska.
Yeah. I'm attracted to coaches that look at a football player and go, if you can play, you can play. I don't care if we're paying for your education or you're paying for yourself, and tuition isn't getting any cheaper. Okay, they don't give you breaks to be an in-state guy going to Nebraska.
Right.
They might give you breaks to go to South Dakota, reciprocal in-state tuition, those kind of things.
Yep.
But if you can play, you can play. And I wonder, as you sit in row 69, seat 23 of the North Stadium, and you see a full game against, let's say, Northern Iowa, where Nebraska may have the opportunity to play a lot of guys. If you could pick out and go, oh, that's a walk-on scholarship guy, walk-on scholarship guy. Because I'm telling you, and this is kind of a problem with Nebraska's talent evaluation of late, is there are some guys that they have brought in as walk-ons that are better than the guys they brought in as scholarship guys. But if you can play football, you can play football. And your job as a head football coach is to get the best talent available to you to construct a roster. And maybe you only have 85 slots, but man, if I have a good eye for evaluation and I have a strong belief that I can develop guys, don't put a ceiling on me, because my job is to win football games and I need as many guys as possible. But I know how to manage those guys where they get the full experience, and we find out if they can play football, not, hey, fourth quarter against Northern Iowa, you want to go out on special teams?
Yeah.
And that's where I think Rule gets it. And I it's not just the Nebraska thing. I think he's a football guy in his pushback against walk-ons. Man, I think he's on an island. I think this is going the way of, you better cut the fat on your roster, boys, and we might give you 5 extra scholarships. But the days of 120 to 130, 140 man rosters are over. Even maybe 120 man rosters. Maybe it's limited at 110, and everybody comes to camp on August 1.
Yep.
All right. Marty Cordell coming up after the top of the hour. We'll talk some hockey in the next hour as well. Brandon Vogel from Counter Reed stops by. 87 days when we return to normalcy around here. And there's football to be played.
Yes.
And the scoreboard will be turned on.
Enough of the offseason.
Dylan Raiola will be on the field. People will be wearing 15 jerseys.
And similar haircuts.
They will have duct tape on the back. It used to say Frazier. Now it says Raiola. It used to say Torres.
You will
Now it says Raiola.
How many people had those jerseys? Yeah.
If you did, you were probably
a sicko.
Maybe Richard came out of your body. All right, 7:56. It's mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. All right, the big little baseball event going on downtown begins next Friday. You know what that is, and you know the place to go to get you the best seats. That is my good friends at ticketsforless.com. They can hook you up with the best seats, the best prices, but more importantly, transparent pricing. You've heard a lot of stories about there's some scams going on right now, and those ticket fees are through the roof. Never worry about ticket fees at checkout with ticketsforless.com. The price you see is the price you pay. Top-notch customer service, and they're right here in Omaha, 145th and West Center. But they've got the best seats, the best prices for the big baseball event that begins next Friday right here in Omaha. Go to their website right now, ticketsforless.com, or download their app. And don't forget, when you get to checkout, you get an additional discount. Just use my promo code THEZONE. That's ticketsforless.com.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
There is only one constant in the universe, and that's change.
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists.
I'm sure many of you remember the incredibly low interest rates that were available only a few years ago. Well, things changed. Now rates are higher. But would you believe me if I told you there was a time when people were paying double-digit rates? And that's the thing. Everything changes. Rates go up, rates go down. So if you're waiting for the perfect time when rates drop before you buy a home, you might miss out on the home you really want. So when you think about it, what's a thing today might not be a thing tomorrow. See? Change is good. I'm Brent Rasmussen. Call me at Mortgage Specialists, and we can show you all the details. Mortgage Specialists. Driven, trusted, reliable.
Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, Equal Housing Lender.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/radio. That's ziprecruiter.com/radio. ziprecruiter.com/radio.
Hi, I'm Nick Bromell, owner of Royalty Roofing. The recent storms wreaked havoc on our community. Our team at Royalty Roofing is here to help. We're local, skilled, licensed, and bonded. We work for you to ensure you get the funds you deserve and make sure that the work is done to your satisfaction. Don't take risks with your biggest investment, your home. We are Better Business Bureau Integrity Award winners and Best of Omaha winners. Cover your roof with Royalty. Visit us today at royaltyroofing.org.
Some people think business banking is only about transactions. But at Emprise, we don't view money as an end game. We see it as an engine. It's who we are. Transforming ideas into IPOs, turning potential into profit. Emprise is next generation business banking, where we help money work for you, not the other way around. That's the power of possible. Visit emprisebank.com to learn more. Member FDIC.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, Richard chimes in the Equitable Bank inbox. He said, just a note, looking at the Illinois schedule, Bama, Duke, Mizzou for the non-con plus the Big Ten. College basketball, when it comes to playing marquee games, they do it right. They love some MSG. Alabama's non-con, which includes Creighton, that game against Illinois is in Birmingham. Alabama then plays at Purdue.
Nice.
They're in the Players Era Festival. So, with Creighton. So they'll
Vegas.
play 3 of Houston, Oregon, A&M, Notre Dame, Rutgers, San Diego State, or Creighton. And then because of Grant Nelson, they are playing a game in North Dakota.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're going to Grand
They're going
Forks.
to Grand
So they're
Forks?
not going to North Dakota State, where Grant Nelson came from.
Okay.
But they are going to Grand Forks to play.
Are they playing at the Ralph?
So that's what I think, because the Betty only seats 4,200.
Yeah.
The Ralph, they could probably, for basketball, put 9,000 in there.
Right.
They have hosted basketball before because there was a walk-on guard that went to KU that was from the state of North Dakota. And wasn't that Roy Williams' big deal is if you came to play,
Yes.
I would make sure that you
We'll
got
play a dadgum game at your home.
Yeah, because that's why Harrison Barnes played back in Iowa City.
Yes.
Because he would promise players that I'm recruiting you, if you come all the way to Chapel Hill or Lawrence, I promise if you stay here for 4 years, we will play a game either in your hometown or close. Because that was,
he did that with Oregon and Portland for Mike Lee and Aaron Miles back in the day when I was in school.
He didn't have to
Aaron
do that for
Miles.
like Rafe LaFrentz and Kirk Henrich because they would play at Iowa State.
Right.
But he did that with Harrison Barnes.
Keith,
he
they
said,
went to TCU.
So Nate Oates said Grant Nelson will go back to North Dakota because Nelson is from North Dakota.
Right.
So yeah, they're going to Grand Forks. That's a pretty
Brr.
healthy schedule. Duke's got a very aggressive non-con as well.
Totally kind of on the subject. Omaha has never played a basketball game with the Ralph, right?
No.
Okay. For some reason, I thought someone mentioned because of something that was happening at the other arena that they were either considering it or something. So I would just be really curious to see what that looked like because you're right. You can't cap that at like 4,200.
Hey, what a great selling point though to a recruit.
That is cool.
Like
I would.
I mean, look.
Why do you always recruit Hawaii?
When Nebraska football was in the Big 12, when they were recruiting Texas kids, that was a selling point. Hey, maybe twice a year, we're going to come down and play close to home.
Might be in Lubbock.
You're going to come a long way away to go to school. But you know what? Mom and dad and your entire family and your schoolmates, we're going to come to Texas twice a year, and you're going to be able to see us. I know in baseball, that was a big deal. So Nebraska was able to get the Texans or even Oklahomans because they're like, you know what? We're probably a couple of times we're going to play, in your state. If not, we might play Oral Roberts.
Well, and think about it too,
like
from
that.
a baseball standpoint, you're getting maybe not Oral Roberts, but you're getting within conference play, you're getting an actual 3-game series. So that's a full weekend out of it, as opposed to just, show up on the day before and leave the day, right after the game. So yeah, it's a cool thing to do because I think people would overlook the importance of something like that, but that type of homecoming, and especially in the smaller venues, I think everybody kind of gets jacked for that.
Well, another element of that is, I think when you move to the Big Ten or the Big East, and now you're playing in places of the country that you don't normally play, you can make that as a selling point.
Yeah.
You don't think if Creighton goes to the East Coast to get a kid, they're like, hey, we're going to come back here 4 or 5 times a year. Or Nebraska trying to get back into California now can say to mom and dad, hey, I know you're going to send your son all the way from Los Angeles to Lincoln, but we're at least once a year, we're going to come and play in the state of California. We're going to play right in your backyard. So you'll get to see your son in person if you can't make it to Lincoln or other road games.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think it's a good selling point, and you could even take it a step further and now expect Nebraska to maybe play a game in Turkey.
Uzbekistan. It'd be a little tough for the Summer League because, you can't recruit kids from Illinois anymore. Hey, you come to play for us, we're going to come to Macomb every year.
Yeah, exactly. They're missing out on that one. Damn. That would have been a major one too. I'm sure a lot of those kids that live in Macomb, I'm just maybe again stereotyping, I'm sure they would have no problem going back there.
How do you think they got Brett Popplewell back in the day? The Australian wide receiver. They say, we will play a spring exhibition in Sydney.
Yes. We're going to take the show on the road. There was a thing back in the day in the state of Nebraska for high school football called the Down Under Bowl. You got to go to Australia.
Actually, it's a good. You just popped into my head here, and we got to take a break. Let's say Tominaga, his whole career was at Nebraska, and he blew up as a freshman and as a sophomore, and Tominaga mania was running wild. You don't think Nebraska would have looked into, because it has happened. Arizona State and Colorado went to Japan and opened up the year not too long ago. The Nebraska basketball would not have gone to Japan to play a game.
We saw Nebraska K-State football go to Tokyo.
What a mess that was. The Road Warriors against David White. Marty Cordero, the Storm Chasers, coming up next. Hey, it is around the corner. You know what? Next weekend, if you did not know this, I'm about to tell you, is Father's Day. What are you getting Dad for a Father's Day gift? You know what? Why don't give him the experience of a shopping spree at Lindley Clothing? Yeah, that's right. You go into Lindley Clothing today at 132nd and West Dodge in the Linden Market. By the way, just easy access shopping right there to find all the latest styles. You're gonna see some gentlemen in there. They might be accompanied by their wife or their daughter. And they're like, you know what? Let's go shopping, Dad, for Father's Day. Great deals right now. Great Father's Day gifts at Lindley Clothing, from shirts to polos to hook up Dad in a suit. Don't rent. Buy a suit for Dad. Lindley Clothing, longtime staple right here in Omaha. Matter of fact, they're coming up on 90 years before you know it. They've got the top brands, and they got great deals for Dad. So if you're looking at your dad and going, oh, my gosh, why do you have those socks with the Birks and the shorts that have holes in them? Don't live that way anymore, kids or significant others. Take your dad to Lindley Clothing and let them outfit Dad for Father's Day. 132nd and West Dodge in the Linden Market.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. The earlier crash on the I-480 inner loop just after Leavenworth Street has traffic backed up right now to I-80, and the right lane is blocked. 2 new accidents reported, one I-80 eastbound just after I-680. This has traffic backed up to Q Street with the right lane blocked as well. The other crash, I-80 westbound at 42nd Street on the left shoulder. This has stop-and-go traffic right now back to I-480. Dodge eastbound traffic picking up around 180th right now, and JFK northbound slowing down between L Street and I-80. Remember to stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
Time-saving traffic is brought to you by Omaha Transmission.
You've probably heard about Omaha Transmission saving people money. Call Omaha Transmission and see why people have been recommending them for almost 20 years.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit.
For the second year, the Nebraska Lottery's NASCAR Powerball Playoff promotion has roared into our state, and the excitement is throttling up. Until June 24th, buy a Powerball ticket with Power Play and Double Play. Enter the voucher number, and you could be one of 15 Nebraska winners of $1,000 and the chance to win a VIP trip to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship weekend, plus a shot at $1 million. Enter today. Powerball top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
We're going abroad for the first time in years, to Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
The boys of summer are back. Kansas City Royals baseball can be heard all season long on your home for Royals baseball in Omaha, 1620 The Zone and 1180 The Zone. Royals baseball is presented by J. Stinnett Contracting. We have you covered.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, as Jimmy told you earlier in the update, the Omaha Storm Chasers are on a heater. They won again last night, one-run victory against the Memphis Redbirds out at Warner Park. A good crowd. Official score was great last night, but it's the 10th one-run win by the Chasers since the 1st of May, and they continue their 6-game homestand tonight and through the weekend. So we welcome in Mr. Storm Chaser, Marty Cordero. What are you doing?
I'm not doing anything. My wife is fixing her lunch for work today.
Oh.
What do you want me to tell Sarah to stop?
No, tell Sarah. No. Tell Sarah hello.
Oh, so she gets the niceties. Gary and Nick say hello.
What is she doing later?
I don't know what she's doing later. She's working, Gary. Knock it off. I'm sure you have somewhere to be to watch baseball.
Yes, I'll see you tonight at 7:05. So it's a nice combination here. Good roster to start the season. The big club has stayed healthy, and they are winning, so they have not needed the assistance of Omaha. And this is a really, really good baseball team. You have been part of this organization that has won AAA championships and have had the Hosmers and the Moustakas and the great prospects. This is a really, really good baseball team that's playing at Warner Park. Is this one of the better ones you have seen in your history?
Yes, by far. I mean, 26-6 since May 1st. I don't know what Modesto did last night, but, Modesto and Omaha are 1-2 for winning percentage in pro baseball. Forget minor league baseball. The Yankees and Phillies were at 689 or somewhere right around 690. So, look, it's a historic run. I think first time since 2005 we had won that many games in a month, and it's a team. That's the neat thing about it. And you guys know I'm a baseball junkie. The bullpen is just ridiculous. And yes, we gave up, the 2-run bomb last night. But never fear, you had Cam and John Rave come right back and hit those home runs in the bottom of the 8th. It's just a solid team. You have the steady hand of Jersh and a great coaching staff. Dane Johnson's done an amazing job with the pitchers and Pennington. What a year. I really hope he gets his shot soon in the bigs.
I know there have been the more lean years when Kansas City, as Gary mentioned, Kansas City has to dip back into the AAA system a little bit more. You're seeing a little bit more turnover with the roster. But you guys, as a staff, do such a good job of just promoting the experience you're going to get at Warner Park. I got to imagine you still promote those elements, but when the baseball is good, this has got to be about as easy of a sell as it gets when it comes to that fan support and getting people out there.
Yeah, you would think so. I still think there are a number of people that even in Omaha that say, what level of baseball? I still get that question. And, it's only been AAA since 1969. It's the longest affiliation in all of pro baseball at the AAA level. So, we still have to put our hard hat on and go out and do the civic speeches and come on 1620. And we need to be doing our jobs. And it does make it easier to do our jobs, but we still need to block and tackle. And, we're excited about this homestand that we're in the middle with the Redbirds. For fans that don't know, St. Louis's AAA team is here this week through Sunday. Second year in a row they've been here, but it had been 4 years since they had been here with MLB scheduling gurus now in charge of the teams we play each year versus the old way with, when the individual leagues set the schedule up. So, it's a great week. The College World Series is here yet. school just got out, so I urge people, come check out this squad this week. And there are going to be names here that are ultimately going to be in Kansas City, hopefully helping them in a playoff run, middle or late summer.
Yeah. You're not only promoting the Storm Chasers, but also who they're playing. And there are a lot of Cardinal fans that are in the area. There were quite a few there last night. Victor Scott and Jordan Walker, two of their top prospects that are on that roster. Can I tell a quick story about Walter Pennington? Because I'm glad you brought him up. He's the left-handed.
I think you can. It's your show. It's half your show. Go ahead.
You may know this story because I think this is a great story. So he's the left-hander out of the bullpen. So he's playing in Double-A. He doesn't have an agent. So last year or 2 years ago, he's in Double-A and he needs a pair of cleats. And he goes to Dick's Sporting Goods to buy a pair of cleats. This is a professional baseball player who's got a bright future in the Royals system, but does not have an agent. He shows up at the clubhouse and he's got these cleats in a Dick's Sporting Goods box. And his teammates were like, what is that? And he goes, I had to go get cleats, so I went to the sporting goods store. And they're like, no, you have people that do that for you. And he goes, who are they? He didn't have an agent. And so he's super humble. He's really, really good. But that's another good story that gets told as guys make their way through the system and they make it to the majors. So he's become one of my favorites. Let's talk about this homestand, because there is the baseball and then there is stuff going on. You have wild animals and fireworks and runzas, not all on the same night or all at the same time. But have you been alerted to what animals are coming on Friday night for the Wild Kingdom night?
Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! No,
That's
I don't
awesome.
know.
Whoa!
Without cages.
Fight a bear.
Yeah. Well, not. I have not. Houston and Katie probably have a better handle on that. But yeah, we're excited to have our first Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom night. They're heavily promoting the fact that they have brought back the show that airs on Saturday mornings now, and so we're excited to partner with them. And that's on Friday night. And obviously post game after the animals leave, we'll have fireworks. But tonight, it's a great night. The weather's going to be awesome. It's Carnival Wednesday. There are a number of corn items. It's available at the concession stands. We have Carnival, different interactive games in the concourse over near the Century Family Fun Zone. And tonight we're featuring Tyler's Amazing Balancing Act. And Tyler balances a number of things on his nose, on his face, on his chin. So that's, and oh, by the way, it's Bark in the Park.
Yes.
You can bring your dog to the park tonight as well. So a lot of stuff happening, but probably the one gaining the most interest, as usual, is our annual Runs Tonight. Yep. And I think it's because of the pregame band. I don't know that it's because of Runs Tonight, but we're excited to host Runs Tonight again.
So I've noticed this, Marty, over the last handful of years. A lot of the merch that I see around town, whether we're talking about maybe some Nebraska stuff, some Creighton stuff, some Omaha, stuff, and then you see a lot of Runza. And these are all from the Runza nights that have taken place, whether it's the hat or the shirt. Is from a merch standpoint, is that one that you see maybe get the most the most activity on when it comes to the Runza night merchandise?
Oh yeah, I was watching a Alabama college football game last year and on ESPN, and I saw where runs a jersey or hat. It's folks that are from here, from the Midwest. We do a lot of mail order runs items, and in park, we raise anywhere $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year, depending on the players and in the jerseys, and that all goes to Food Bank for the Heartland, which is great timing with what they're doing with their new facility. So, it's an opportunity to come out and be a part of Runza Night. You can buy a Runza. You can watch Strange Pleasures live music before the game. But most importantly, I know Gary's really excited about the Runza yard / pool sun hat that we're giving away to the first 1,250 fans at the gate.
That is a cool giveaway.
Is that so?
Yeah. You have a strange pleasure of promoting that Bruisin' band. Any reason why?
Any reason why what?
You have a strange pleasure in promoting the band. You said it twice. I'm just curious.
That's the name of the band. That's the band I've drum in. So, we're playing from 5 to...
I didn't know.
We're playing from 5 to 6, and there's beer specials from 5 to 6, and then something new this year is Saturday night game times are 6:05, so it's a little earlier, and we're really excited about this year's run tonight.
Will we get a drum solo?
Probably not. I'm not a big drum solo guy, but
You're humble.
there'll be some good tunes. Yeah.
Okay. You could have last homestand. Marty was on top of the dugout with his drum set.
With the drum?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was for terrible promotion night, though, and that was. I hope I play a little bit better than that the next time I play at Warner Park. If not, I'm probably going to be fired.
Hey, can I ask you a question? And this is an honest question. Do you guys sell Runzas?
We do.
Okay.
On Saturday night we will.
Okay.
I believe
All right.
But not regularly.
Available.
Okay.
Not regularly. We've had conversation about it, but it's not something we've done just yet.
All right. Let me ask you another question because since the last time we talked, Warner Park once again successfully hosted the high school baseball state championships. The park looked great. The park was packed for the Friday championships for 3 games. The field looked great. You, in partnership with Ethan and UNO, have been able to bring the state baseball tournament, now 3 classes, to Omaha. What's the future look like for the next step for high school baseball when it pertains to Warner Park?
We're just excited about continuing to host, Gary. It's been I don't even know how many years that it's been. But we're in conversation now about continuing that contract. We just finished a 3-year partnership with UNO and the state, so another 3, 4, 5 years. But
Awesome.
we're excited to host it.
Awesome. I mean,
where it
you and I talked it. Yeah, that's a home there. It has found a home.
Look, and I'll say this, and I give Andrea Bedore a lot of credit. She is no longer with the organization. She's at Bellevue University, and Andrea and I really focused for 6, 7, 8 years, and gave a lot of attention to getting the brackets changed, because it wasn't just about television. It was about switching to a 1-game winner take all. And Chad Zimmerman really stepped in, Jeremy Van Akron, Jeff Johnson, Jason Ryan. I mean, there's a number of folks. Dan Masters when he was still at the state. So there's a lot of people. And not only is it on television, but you had almost 6,000 for the finals, which is the finals record for baseball, which fell just shy of breaking the 2023 all tournament record. Had we had a little bit better weather, it was still a tough time moving games around. But I don't know, if you can't feel my enthusiasm for the future of high school baseball in the state. I mean, just look at the players that are still playing right now in the minors, in the majors, college baseball, super regionals. I mean, there's great high school baseball here that I think sometimes goes overlooked. And now you've got Class C. That's the other thing that was continued to be pushed, was how do we spread Class C baseball, and now that's happening. So we're really excited about it.
Fantastic. The weather looks great. It should be a fun week out at the ballpark, and with a really, really good baseball team. As always, appreciate it, my friend. We'll see you tonight.
All right, guys. Appreciate local sports coverage, and have a great summer.
Yep. You and Sarah have a great day. It's Marty Cordero.
I was
president of the Storm Chasers.
Their investment, or just opening the doors to the youth organizations, the high school baseball game, even before the state tournament was there on a regular basis, when you had just regular season games in the spring season that were there. But remember, because you were present for this as well during the AAA All-Star game. Isn't it amazing that we think about the season that Alec Boehm is having right now? They had that home run derby, and Alec Boehm, as a senior Ron Colley, is in that home run derby with the AAA representatives as well. That to me, for someone who is a huge advocate of high school baseball in this state and always wants to see that talent be talked about and be on display and in some of the better venues, nobody does it better than Marty, than Warner. And I'm glad you brought up Ethan Anderson too, over at UNO, the facilities director there. This is where that tournament belongs. And you've seen the response from it as well. It's fantastic. They continue to go one step further in supporting the youth organizations and the high school product as well. I can't say enough for what I think that does for that player experience.
Yeah, that's a state championship that we got here in Omaha. It's not leaving Omaha.
Yeah, it shouldn't. It absolutely shouldn't. I've experienced it from the other side of it in Lincoln when they first rolled it out. The player experience was minimal at best because of the restrictions that were there before and after the games. And, you feel like when you get to Warner Park and you're at Tal Anderson Field, you're celebrating a good season by making it to the state tournament, and they treat you as such. That's exactly the way it should be.
All right, the Storm Chasers home tonight for 7:05. Again, if you're a Cardinal fan, Victor Scott and Jordan Walker are here. Those are two of their top prospects. The professional collectors were out last night trying to get their autographs.
Yep.
There's 3 guys. I'm one of the first people I look for when I get to the ballpark upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, by their dugout.
Yep.
And the 3 professional collectors that work the Storm Chaser games were in town last night.
They have bags?
No, there is one guy that is a big cards guy. So he's got like the old photo albums.
Yeah.
He's got stacks of cards.
Oh, jeez.
And so he will be prepared, or he has a glossy photo.
Yeah.
And when the player walks up, he'll just open it up, and
wow.
Some will sign, some will just keep it moving.
Yeah.
But there's 3 guys. If you've been out to Warner Park, those are the same guys that held Terrence Gore's first professional home run ball hostage. And one guy who, when Salvi Perez was here as on rehab, basically handed him a duffel bag and go, whatever you want to sign out of there, go ahead.
I'd love to know what Salvi actually signed.
I think he was nice enough.
He is a nice
guy. Baseball.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. 8:28. Sean Leahy's coming up next. We'll talk some NHL Stanley Cup Finals. Edmonton and Florida get set to go in Florida on Saturday night. And Sean's back on. It's been a while since he's been on 1620. So he'll join us coming up next in a little over an hour. Brandon Vogel will stop by as well with his thoughts. 87 days. If you don't know, tell a neighbor, tell a friend. 87 days.
Now you know.
Until Nebraska and UTEP play, and the Huskers must cover on 1620 The Zone. Hey, you must cover life. Yeah, man, I'm talking to you. You've heard me talking a long time now about mentality. If you have symptoms of low testosterone, this is what it looks like. You got some attention span out, decreased mental acuity. You can't throw a strike. You've got stress when you see that manager coming out of the dugout to give you the old hook. All of a sudden, your arm is limp and you got belly fat. You're feeling bloated. As many pulls as you do as a pitcher, you can't lose any weight. And then you know what? You're disinterested when you get home from the ballpark. Yeah, you're sleeping on the couch and you don't even know if you have kids anymore, depending on what place you played. You know what? All of these are symptoms of low testosterone. Ask any guy. And you know what? Time to get them checked out, because you need to be back to pumping the strike zone at 90 miles an hour and pumping whatever you else want to pump. And you can do that with Mentality. They can help you diagnose and attack low testosterone. Great place. They know you by name. They don't treat you like a number. Friendly, personal service. But it's got to start with you. They will introduce you to their FDA-approved testosterone treatment with the board-certified physicians who work with most insurance companies. Go to the website today, lowtusa.com. I know you got more questions. There is a great Q&A there for you. But schedule a physical. You'll get a complete physical, consultation, blood panel results. And if you have low testosterone, they will present a plan to you to get you back on the mound where you can be more like Cy Young and not Mark Young. lowtusa.com. It is Mentality.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. The Connor Happer Show.
Chris writes in on Twitter, there will be no missing Angel Hernandez. Absolutely none. He's terrible, and I'm truly happy to see him go. Do you at all feel bad for a human man, Angel Hernandez, who just so happens to be just awful at his job? Do you at all feel like, all right, he's retiring, we should just let it go, rather than pile on, happy to see you go, rotten hell, you know?
The Connor Happer Show, weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny, breezy, and warm for Wednesday. Expect west winds gusting 20 to 30 miles per hour with temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 80s. Can't rule out a stray shower late in the day, though most will remain dry. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620, The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. An earlier accident, I-480 northbound just after Leavenworth, still has the right lane blocked, and traffic is backed up from there to I-80. Traffic building up on the eastbound express lanes, Dodge slowing down right now between 180th and 156th. And if you're traveling I-80 westbound, get ready for things to slow down a little bit between 60th and 72nd. Stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
We are excited to announce the grand opening of Saul's Jewelry and Loan's new downtown location. It's a Saul's shopping experience like you've never seen. Amazing jewelry finds at our famous best in town prices. Tools, bikes, guitars. 22nd and Hardy, downtown Omaha, Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Hey, it's Happer for the FanDuel Sportsbook, and the NBA Finals are upon us, but it's not too late for you to get in on the action with, of course, the FanDuel Sportsbook, because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. So take a look at a player prop you might like, maybe Luka Doncic over points, maybe Jason Tatum under points. Who knows? Whichever way you'd like to play it. A $5 bet that wins gets you $150 in bonus bets. And that's $150 you can use on anything you like across the board. So now's the time for action on the FanDuel Sportsbook. There's no better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Head to FanDuel.com/Happer and get started. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over, present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
It's going to be another sizzling hot summer. Stay cool with 35% off new Champion windows. Don't burn your money on high energy bills. Get new energy efficient windows from Champion. 35% off. Plus, get an extra $100 off every window you replace. The more you buy, the more you save. We help you choose the best design options for your home. We then build your project in our very own factory. Our install team manages your project every step of the way, and it's all backed by our lifetime guarantee. Plus, we're giving away the chance to win a $50,000 home makeover. Enter online today. Turn your house into your dream home with more livable space in a new Champion sunroom, or enhance your curb appeal with new siding. Now 35% off. Don't wait. This sale won't last long. 35% off windows, sunrooms, and siding. Plus, get an extra $100 off every window you replace. Call 877-GO-CHAMPION or visit championsavenow.com to schedule a free in-home estimate today. All discounts apply to our regular prices. Select styles apply. Minimum purchase required. Cannot be combined with other advertised offers. See store or website for details.
A fantastic fall fishing trip starts right now. Hi, I'm Crash Davis. I need you to go to ballardsresort.com and get signed up. You've heard me talking about it. You've asked me about it. Well, now is the time to get signed up. Only a few spots remain. Only a few days remain for us to have a great fishing adventure together at Ballards Resort in northern Minnesota. We're going to the Lake of the Woods. Get on the bus Sunday. We're back on Thursday, and it's cheaper than you could do for gas there and back hauling a boat. More details with ballardsresort.com. Get signed up today. Time is of the essence.
Introducing Modern Real Estate, the game changer in Nebraska's property market. With a competitive 2% commission rate, we're making buying, selling, and investing more affordable and transparent than ever. Our experienced agents blend local expertise with cutting-edge technology to provide top-notch personalized service to all clients. Don't settle for less when you can save big without compromising. Visit modernrealestateco.com and experience the future of real estate today. Modern Real Estate, redefining the way you do real estate.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
Stanley Cup Finals are coming up on Saturday night. Edmonton and Florida. I'm not a TV exec. I'm just a hockey fan, so we will watch. You should watch as well. And the sport is so much better when people like our next guest are back writing. Now at Yahoo Sports, Sean Leahy joins us. Good morning, Sean.
Hey, boys. Good to be back with you.
It is great to hear your voice and talk a little puck. You know how this will be broken down, because I don't know if you've heard. Did you know how far Edmonton and Sunrise, Florida are from each other?
Yeah, I was just telling my editors this morning how glad I am not to be traveling for this year, because that is kind of brutal with no direct flights between the cities.
Ooh. But two very passionate fan bases, so both barns will be rocking. The big story that brings in the kind of casual hockey fan is a name in Connor McDavid. And what he has done in his brief career is jaw-dropping. I think a couple years ago, willing that Oilers team through 2 rounds was amazing. And then, oh, by the way, there was a goal, the toe drag in Game 6. But how important do you think it is, Sean, in the sport that we're getting peak Connor McDavid, not an aging star at the end of his career that gets a chance to get a cup?
Yeah, I mean, you want your stars at the height of their powers, and McDavid's been at the height of his powers really since he entered the league. And having him along with Leon Draisaitl, who's just on that same mountaintop with him, playing the way they are, is great for the hardcore fans. But like you mentioned, also, as long as the highlights keep being plastered on Sports Center and all the highlight shows, they're going to draw in the casual fans. There's people wanting to see this guy do what he does at such a high speed of action, but so controlled, like you mentioned with that goal the other night, which is unbelievable. And it's good for the sport, and hopefully we'll draw some new fans to the game during the series.
Sean, when I talk to you about hockey, even when they're not involved, I always make some reference to Chicago, but hear me out on this one. So with Connor McDavid, but with the depth that they have at the lines, and another guy that I think a lot of people, we're talking casual sports fans here, if they're tuning into this thing, are going to be introduced to Evan Bouchard. When I think of some of those successful Chicago teams, when they had those frontline guys like the Taves Kane, but also had some really solid lines, with Hossa, and you looked at the defensemen that they had, there's a little Duncan Keith that I'm reminded of when I watch Evan Bouchard. That just the importance of having those types of guys on top of what is going to be a solid forward lineup there. When you look at Edmonton in the series, that will mean what to you in this series against Florida?
Well, they're going to need their defense to be at the top of their game, and I know there's kind of been some issues really outside of Bouchard. Darnell Nurse has kind of been picked on the last couple of rounds just for his inability to slow down the opposing forwards. But Florida does a good job of getting pucks on net, and Edmonton really has not been great at 5-on-5 at suppressing shots. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I think is going to trouble the Oilers is the way that the Panthers forecheck. They're very physical, they're very aggressive, and they're very good at cycling the puck down low and then off of that creating chances. And if the Oilers cannot play tight enough where they're leaving seams through the middle of the ice, open space, Stuart Skinner is going to be incredibly busy. And, we talk about all the different categories of how this series can fill the special teams, 5-on-5 play, the goaltending. I think a big part of it is going to be how the Edmonton defense reacts to the forecheck of the Panthers and whether they can suppress the shots, and whether we see Stuart Skinner, the goaltender from the Stars series, or we see Stuart Skinner from the first 2 rounds where he was a little more shaky than what we've seen of late.
Sean Leahy from Yahoo Sports joining us. I want to step away from Edmonton, Florida. A comment that you just made. Why do you think that these playoffs, where we get to, Florida's back in the Stanley Cup final for the 2nd straight year, Edmonton, it's a Canadian team that hasn't, hoisted a cup in a long time. So it's, 2 relatively small markets, so to speak. I know Miami. But, Sean, I'm looking at ESPN, and PK Subban is on nearly every show on ESPN. Every day it seems like he's on McAfee talking about the NHL. We already know that the TNT crew, they have a great studio show. The TV ratings are at a record high for the Stanley Cup playoffs. Do you see a reason why, and I don't mean that as a negative, but why all of a sudden has the Stanley Cup playoffs in terms of TV ratings started to tick way up?
Well, I think ESPN's a massive reason why, and it's such a reason why this recent TV package, the NHL wanted ESPN involved in some sort, whether it was what they have now or a split package with Turner or NBC if they were going to retain their rights. But, I mean, what's the home channel for most sports fans? It's ESPN. You're on one of those channels all day. Maybe it's on the office. It's on at Jiffy Lube while you're waiting to get your oil changed. Like, it's just on, whether it's Sports Center or one of their 15 billion talking head shows. So they're going to have guests on, and obviously if they have the rights, which is kind of what networks do these days, they're going to pump up their own properties. They're going to get PK on as much as they can. They're going to get Messier wherever they can. They're going to have documentaries like they had on the 2011 Vancouver riot last night, as well as one on the 94 Rangers run to the Cup. So they're going to blow up NHL as much as they do for NBA, WNBA, NFL, and every other property that they have. And that, in turn, sports fans are watching ESPN throughout most of the day. They're going to be more informed. They're going to know what's going on, and they're going to know Game 1 is Saturday night on ABC. So that's kind of how it works, and it's good for the game to draw in more new fans to watch the games, but also too for the regular fans, the fans who've been there all this time, to get more and more coverage, in the U.S. that we may not have had in the last 20 years since ESPN last had the right.
Getting back into the finals as far as the matchup and this getting underway on Saturday, you look at the path that Florida went through in those matchups, and you mentioned what they have the ability to do defensively in being able to defend, neutralize the likes of McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman. But if you think about the star power on Florida, who we're watching compared to regular season and what they've had in the postseason, do you think a lot of people will be, if they haven't already, be introduced to Gustav Forsling?
I hope so. I mean, that's kind of also too the spotlight that the playoffs in all sports happens, because you have fewer teams, fewer games as the rounds go on. So now all the attention now is down to these two teams. So we're going to know really a lot about these two teams by the end of the series. And Forsling is a guy who really just he could have, any team in the NHL could have had him on waivers a couple years ago. That's just where he was in his career. He was struggling, as you know, with the Blackhawks. Sorry to put the short subject there, but he goes to Florida, and now he's been put in a role where he's kind of been, I don't want to say on a leash, but kind of given the freedom to be a little more offensive, throw more pucks on ice, get those extra minutes, work on the power play, and in turn, with the rest of the teammates around and the units he's played on, that's paid off in him becoming a surprising star here for the Panthers for the past couple of years.
So what is a bigger matchup? And I know it's not an individual sport. Forsling against McDavid, or a guy that has had a great playoff in Barkov and how he defends McDavid?
It's Barkov. You want that head-to-head matchup. You want that Michael Jordan versus Larry Bird, Magic Johnson type matchup, and that's what you have here. You have a guy who's a multi-time Selke Award winner, one of the best defensive forwards in the league. Also can provide some offense as well against an otherworldly superstar. The series is going to hinge on that, but I think the Panthers as a team, they've been so well defensively at shutting down opposing stars. Look what they did to Kucherov and Braden Point in the first round, Marchand and Pasta in the second round, and then Zibanejad, Panarin, and Kreider last round against the Rangers. I mean, they've limited those players who can score will against other teams and during the regular season to 2, 3, 4 goals over the course of an entire series combined. So if they can do that again against the Oilers, shut down McDavid, shut down Draisaitl, the depth, there's some depth players there, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, but the depth isn't there in the Oilers to overcome that kind of defensive lapse there if those guys are not able to get on the board and really score big goals when they need them.
I don't know how much we get into this in the regular season as opposed to the postseason when things get heightened in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But if you look at each coach in their, career right now, as far as where they are in their career, is that where you put the advantage for Florida also on the bench?
Sure. I mean, look, Paul Maurice, it's crazy to think he coached the Hartford Whalers. That's how long. And when he coached them, when he coached them, and he was only 28 years old when he took over that job, and now he's only 57. So he's a lifer in the game. Almost 30 years. Plenty of experience. Has been to a Cup Finals before. Obviously last year, then 2002 with the Hurricanes. Hasn't won yet, but and you see him in the press conferences. Like, he knows how to answer questions. He knows how to really, when the situation gets so stressful, he knows kind of how to relieve the pressure, and that's just talking to the media. So you can only imagine how it is on the ice in the locker room when things get intense. And you have Chris Knobloch on the other side, who took over the team early in the season, and has done fantastic. I mean, once he took over, the Oilers were like the best team in the NHL. I think they grabbed the most points and most wins since that point. And installing a new coach mid-season has worked before. Look at the Penguins and Mike Sullivan in 2015. They went on to win back-to-back Stanley Cups. So sometimes that teams like the Oilers, they need a new voice, a new system, a new idea, and that clicked for them. But certainly you can't go wrong with experience. Although if you saw Chris Knobloch's quote yesterday, took some strays at the Bills thing. He was asked about how much Florida's experience would help them in the final. He said, well, ask the Buffalo Bills how that worked out for them. But still, you can't discount experience this time of year, because the media sizes are going to double. The obligations are going to double. You have these extra days off built in because of the travel. You got to worry about the ice this time of year in both buildings and going to mid-June. There's so much attention now on these two teams that if you haven't been here before and been through the situation, it might be a little troubling for you. You might take a game or two to get into it. But certainly both teams have guys who've been in this situation before and can pass that knowledge and wisdom along to the young guys who have been there and potentially help them for the rest of the series.
All right, so Florida is in the Stanley Cup final for the second straight year, and they're a little bit healthier. Nobody is at 100% this time of the year in the playoffs, but Florida is definitely in a better spot than they were last year going into the Stanley Cup final. They get Edmonton. First two are in Sunrise. Sean, what happens? Who raises the cup?
Well, Chris Knobloch may not like this, but I think the Panthers are going to win 6, because I think going through last year, I don't discount experience in this time of year. I really don't cover enough Stanley Cup finals and seen teams that were full of young players kind of get almost deer in headlights look in the first couple of games, and it takes them a game or two to really get into the series and kind of feel comfortable. But I also attribute to my pick to what I mentioned before with the way they shut down star players. Just the way they just kind of smother them and suppress their shots and just kind of keep them off the board. Because you get a big Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl goal that can really boost the team for the rest of the game, whether you're chasing a goal or go just ahead and taking the advantage. And also, one thing I'm curious about is the physicality with the Panthers. We know they're not shy. Matthew Tkachuk is the lead test over there. They don't want to put the Oilers on the power play because they're scoring pretty much 40% of the time during the postseason. That's almost like an automatic goal there. So I'm curious as how much smarter they'll be physically in this series while working that forecheck and also doing that in after the whistle kind of stuff to try and draw penalties that way, because both special teams have been pretty well. But obviously the Oilers is on another planet. But I think just Florida as a whole defensively, the experience they had from last year, and obviously, Sergei Bobrovsky, the way he's played in goal this postseason, to me, I think that combination there is good enough to really take over an Orioles team who, like I said, they're not as deep as Florida. Defensively, they're not as strong. And in goal, like I mentioned, Stuart Skinner was great against the Stars, but can you trust him to do this against a team like Florida? And I don't think he will.
Real quickly, because I have to, and I haven't talked to you in a while, Sean.
Here comes the Blackhawks question.
Well, yes, because I had no one to celebrate my euphoria when they got Connor Bedard, and I reached out. He wouldn't get back. No, I'm kidding. But I in all seriousness, with that piece for that franchise, that market, we know how important it is to the NHL to see Chicago in a postseason. But more importantly, with having a guy like Connor Bedard, as we're talking a lot about Connor McDavid, what did you take away from that rookie season and just the impact that he now brings to the league?
I mean, I guess it's no surprise what he did, right? He led the team in scoring, came back from that injury and was just didn't really miss a beat and was every bit as good as advertised. And you see what he did this year in year one, and you imagine a couple years down the line, how much better he's going to be when he's surrounded by better talent. As you've seen with other superstars like McDavid, Crosby, Ovechkin, when they're surrounded by better players, they go to an even higher level. And it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, look, they're taking the rebuild the right way. They had obviously many years of success, and now it's the other side of that. But I think they're approaching this rebuild a very smart way. And it's just a matter of making the right draft picks, making the right free agent signings. Not really kind of blowing all your cap space on veterans who aren't going to help you 3-4 years down the line. It's really thinking. It's really that long-term plan. You're looking at free agents now, looking at guys you're drafting later this month. Who's going to help you 3-4 years down the line, and who's not the guys who are going to be out of the league in 3-4 years now. So I think right now they've approached it well. They got a lot of young talent there. It's just a matter of developing them and getting them ready for when the franchise is ready to make that run toward the playoffs, maybe 2 years time or so.
Fantastic conversation. Always great to have you on, Sean. Enjoy the Stanley Cup Finals, and thanks again for joining us.
You got it, boys. Thanks so much.
That's Sean Leahy from Yahoo Sports. A little Canadian in him.
Oh yeah, he's a hockey guy. Just you feel like even in a brief conversation that we're going to be referring to each other as boys and hey there. Oh yeah, go get them, guys.
Spell that defenseman with a C.
You get a lot more offense.
I got a Red Wing fan chirping at me on email.
Oh,
well,
because we didn't ask anything about the Red Wings.
Well, so yesterday, and I think I know why he's doing this. The Penguins were the last team to lose in the Stanley Cup Final, then return the next year, and they won.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday was 16 years ago when the Red Wings and the Penguins played.
Mm-hmm.
Henrik Zetterberg was the MVP. And the Red Wings won in 6. So that was the stretch where the Red Wings, that was their 4th cup in 11 years.
Yeah.
And then Detroit just fell off the map.
Yep.
They kept the town, but they lost the hockey.
It's very Chicago-esque after the dynasty.
There was it was Detroit and Pittsburgh. That was the run.
Yep.
And I mean, Pittsburgh is are we gonna be able to squeeze is Sid the Kid gonna be able to get back for one more time with Mr. Malkin?
Well, and that's why kind of what Sean said, and I think Sidney Crosby is a great example of that. Being able to introduce casual sports fans at this time of the year to see the true superstars of hockey, but to that point of seeing them in their prime. At least we got to see that with Sid. That's a big part of that.
Like Ovechkin wasn't in his prime.
No.
I mean,
on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And so that's big. That's what I love about this series, because I do think Florida, I'm with Sean. I think Florida wins. I think this thing goes 6 or 7. It could be better than it was last year where you get the gentleman's sweep. But I think to see that much of Connor McDavid, for your casual sports fans, you and I know about him. Casual sports fans that are going to see him and see the things that he does with a puck that is so much different than what you see on an everyday level is phenomenal. It helps grow the sport when you have those guys that are in their prime.
Chew on this as we go to break. So hockey is Saturday. Basketball is tomorrow night. Are the two best players currently in their respective sports both involved in the postseason? One for sure.
Yeah.
The second one is up for debate, and you choose what sport that is. We're back with more Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
Don't answer that. It's another roof gypsy ringing the doorbell. They are attempting to capitalize on the misfortune that Mother Nature has thrown your way. Make the right call to a trusted company that has faithfully served the Omaha area for over 35 years. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
For roofing, siding, and gutter repair, make the right call to John Higgins Weather Guard.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the Rooferees. Make the right call.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Calling all baseball fans, Omaha's heating up as the ultimate baseball hub, and Tickets for Less has your tickets for all the action. Catch the Storm Chasers witness the Big Ten Baseball Championship at Charles Schwab Field, and don't miss a moment of that big thing going on in June. Plus, the Royals are playing great, and KC is just down the road. So score your tickets hassle-free at ticketsforless.com, where you'll never pay service fees. Plus, use my promo code THEZONE to snag a discount on your next order. With Tickets for Less, enjoy transparent, upfront pricing every time. So shop now and use that promo code THEZONE at ticketsforless.com.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your radio home for Omaha Storm Chasers baseball, proud AAA affiliate of the Kansas City Royals. Tune in to hear every pitch, every hit, and every out as the Chasers play at Warner Park and across the International League in 2024. With the voice of the Omaha Storm Chasers, Nick Batters, on News Talk 1290 Coil.
Tune in to 1290 Coil all season long for your Omaha Storm Chasers baseball as they take on the International League. It's Storm Chasers baseball on 1290 Coil.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is Cops. Receive 2 $25 gift vouchers for just $25. Cops makes delicious pizza, fresh salads, and tasty charred wings. For the basic menu, click copspizza.com. And for the extended menu, visit them at Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and the newly reopened 72nd and Jones locations.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
The headlines remind us daily, the world is a dangerous place. The elites in charge say everything's fine, stop noticing. But you know better. And your gut knows that time is short to prepare for a world that is 4 missed meals away from chaos. My Patriot Supply has helped over 3 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contain delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Secure at least 1 food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200, plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour Foods. My Patriot Supply also has solar power generators, water filtration units, biomass stoves, heirloom seeds, and critical survival gear. Shop mypatriotsupply.com today. mypatriotsupply.com.
A fantastic fall fishing trip starts right now. Hi, I'm Crash Davis. I need you to go to ballansresort.com and get signed up. You've heard me talking about it. You've asked me about it. Well, now is the time to get signed up. Only a few spots remain. Only a few days remain for us to have a great fishing adventure together at Ballards Resort in northern Minnesota. We're going to Lake of the Woods. Get on the bus Sunday. We're back on Thursday, and it's cheaper than you could do for gas there and back hauling a boat. More details with balladsresort.com. Get signed up today. Time is of the essence.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
His name was Burke.
He's from Turkey.
He had a silky J.
Oh.
Welcome back in. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. So Connor McDavid is the best player in his sport right now.
Yep.
Patrick
Go
Mahomes
Oilers.
is the best player in his sport right now.
Yep.
This might be the golden age, by the way, of Kansas City sports. Now, Bobby Witt Jr.
Oh,
is
Bobby
close to
Witt.
being the best player in baseball right
Yep.
now. They get the best player in football.
Even though they lost 2 bombs. Same spot, too.
They made a costly error last night.
Yeah,
Nice
they did.
win
Well,
by your club.
By Bobby Witt,
yes,
by the way.
So the NBA Finals begin tomorrow night. Luka and Kyrie against Tatum and Brown. Nobody else is playing. That's just it's just going to be 2-on-2 for possibly 7 games.
Love Luka. Screw everyone else.
Kristaps is back too. Hey,
Is Luka the best player in the NBA right now? So McDavid is playing, and he's the best player. I don't think there's an argument in the NHL.
Heck,
NBA.
No,
is
and
the best-
McDavid is not. I'm sorry. There's no argument. McDavid is
Luka the
without
best
question.
player in the NBA right now?
Well, playoff Nick says yes.
That's right. You're
I'm playoff guy.
Yeah, you're just hey, I didn't know Inside the NBA aired at 11:30 at night.
For argument's sake, I'll say no, but he's pretty damn good.
I still think Joker is the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
He got eliminated early,
League
but he got a
MVP.
title last year.
Mhm.
I mean, the Luka discussion changes if he wins a championship.
He'll be the Finals MVP.
But here's another thing, because Boston has a conversation in this. Is there an American-born player that is in the top 5 of the current NBA in terms of the best players? Current NBA, Not all time.
Yeah. Right.
Because I don't think LeBron is in the top 5 right now.
Not
in
right
the
now.
current
Come on,
NBA.
where's George Mikan, man?
We used to do the George Mikan drills when I was growing up.
Why were you convulsing when you were saying that?
I don't know. First day
Something
back.
about-
The only
something
reason I was
about George
convulsing
Mikan?
is because I remember George Mikan drills when I
Okay.
was in high school.
So, is there an American-born player in the NBA that is in the top 5 of the current NBA?
Does Ant make the top 5?
No.
Tatum or Brown? I'm just a process of elimination
I would
here.
I would say Tatum's close, right? I mean, he's it's kind of sad, but I don't know if there is one.
Okay, so
Great. We're going to hear this in the debates now.
Joker,
Yep.
Luka,
Mm-hmm.
Shea,
Mm.
Giannis, Embiid.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Coming in at 6th in the current NBA. Is that where it becomes a toss-up where Jason Tatum,
Put their Tatum
would be
in there.
mentioned?
Yeah.
A Booker would be mentioned.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Booker's
forget about
good.
him.
Yeah.
Even the old heads might throw in a Curry and a LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe what this conversation is about is top 5 players in the NBA right now are international guys.
Mm-hmm.
The number 1 pick in the nobody will pay attention except for when Baylor Sharman's going draft that comes up at the end of the month. The first guy off the board is international.
Another international guy. Yep.
I mean, we can have the weakest NBA draft in a long time, and it's still an international guy that goes number
Yep.
1.
Yeah. So even on the down years,
Yeah.
we can't have one from the States.
So I don't think I'm off here.
No.
Top 5 players in the NBA currently are all international-born players.
None of these guys, though, can hold a candle to the great Paul McKeskey.
Oh, do we yearn for the day of the number 1 pick being Ben Simmons? No.
I'll go all with candy if we're going to. I have a wealth of crap I haven't used in 2 weeks, so.
Oh, I know, and
And
the Donald Sterling thing came out on
I saw that.
Hulu, so
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll have some.
I need
it's
some
Ed O'Neill.
I need some good docuseries. It's it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Ed O'Neill.
Oh, that's
Does a
Ed
great job.
O'Neill.
Yeah,
I
Ed
did
O'Neill
not
is
realize that
playing
was Ed
Donald
O'Neill.
Sterling.
Mhm.
It's really
Wow.
it's really good.
Yeah. I'm going to end up pissed that the Spurs lost to him in 2015 and probably throw something and walk out, but
Man,
I almost dropped an F-bomb.
that's a far cry from the 4 touchdowns in one game at Polk High School, too. Holy cow.
Yes, it is. NBA Finals coming up tomorrow night. We'll talk about the NBA tomorrow and the changing opinion of Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has.
He's happy.
He's not as complicated. I'm ready to ride the train. I like basketball Kyrie.
He's he's fun to watch.
I remember this one in Cleveland in 2016, basketball Kyrie and LeBron. That was fun. That was
Yeah.
enjoyable.
He was still there was a little sabotage going on there.
Yeah, it was, but they
but-
were winning at the time, so everybody was.
I mean, he's
was
gonna
loving each
tick
other.
off the Boston fans because I think
Oh, yeah.
Kyrie's at peace.
I do
I
too.
think,
Yeah, he's
I
happy.
think Jason Kidd has really helped him,
Mhm.
and I think Luka has helped him.
Yeah.
This is a different Kyrie that he's not stomping on Lucky at the Garden.
Mhm.
He is not walking around the court waving sage.
Mhm.
He is not requesting a trade.
Right.
This is really good. Let's just play basketball, Kyrie.
Michael
He's
Finley's not taking beer out of his hands.
He's not. He's not complicated, and I like it. And you're seeing that people now get to go. Okay, all right. That's the
Yeah, he's-
basketball Kyrie.
he's still pretty good.
Who is one of the best point guards
Yes.
in the current NBA?
Yeah.
All right. Last hour upcoming. It'll include a stop by Brandon Vogel from counterread.com. 16
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. No new accidents to report, but the earlier crash I-480 northbound just after Leavenworth still causing slight delays from the right lane being blocked. And that Dodge eastbound traffic on the express lanes picking up around 168th and slowing down to 156th. Other than that, roads in the metro looking good. Just remember to stay safe and wear that seatbelt. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Spring, it's the reward for surviving another winter. Fernando's, it's the reward for any day that ends in Y. Great Mexican food, awesome margaritas, and a wonderful family atmosphere. Fernando's, Omaha's favorite Mexican for more than 30 years.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, It's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
A fantastic fall fishing trip starts right now. Hi, I'm Crash Davis. I need you to go to ballansresort.com and get signed up. You've heard me talking about it. You've asked me about it. Well, now is the time to get signed up. Only a few spots remain. Only a few days remain for us to have a great fishing adventure together at Ballards Resort in northern Minnesota. We're going to the Lake of the Woods. Get on the bus Sunday. We're back on Thursday, and it's cheaper than you could do for gas there and back hauling a boat. More details with balladsresort.com. Get signed up today. Time is of the essence.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit, or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Matt got in at the tail end of our conversation because he just sent me a text. Embiid ? American born. Technically, Embiid is now American.
Yeah,
he's going to play for Team USA. American born.
Yeah, born in Cameroon.
Cameroon.
Yeah. Come on. All right. Last hour is here on 1620 The Zone. Let's talk to Andrew on the 42 Degree The Source hotline. Good morning, Andrew.
Hey, boys. How we doing?
Good.
Good, Andrew. How are you?
I'm heading to Templeton, Iowa, and I couldn't be better.
Gonna go to Templeton Rye? Check it out.
I got married in Templeton, and one of my wedding gifts before Templeton Rye was produced was some backwoods Templeton Rye.
Oh, bet that hits different.
Now, how's
Yeah, it's a little different. You could put it in your car.
That's good stuff.
Do we still have a native of Carroll County in our family?
Do I have a native?
Yeah. You're still married, right, to her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife's from Templeton proper.
Okay. That's awesome.
But I guess my question wasn't Kyrie Irving, didn't he date a Kardashian, and that's where he kind of fell off the track?
Happens to all of them.
He did.
It's what undid Larry Bird's career at the end.
Yes, he did.
Which one?
Did he? I can't.
I thought he did.
Man,
I need a Venn diagram with these things.
Hold on
with
here.
Her? With them all.
Yeah, you know what? He was with Kendall Jenner.
Oh, okay.
Not a Kardashian.
Yeah, there you go. Kendall Jenner.
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Don't you get a break for kind of dating one of those guys? I mean, you can't be in your right mind.
Those guys?
That's a different story.
You might know something we don't.
Yeah.
Your point is valid though, because it seems to be a little bit of a distraction where you take a turn to Crazy Town.
Yeah, I mean, and you better wrap up if you're touching that.
And many have, Andrew.
You're not wrong.
Science has proven.
Yeah. Andrew, thanks for the phone call.
Or else it falls off. Game 1 tomorrow night. 30 minutes earlier, by the way. No longer 7:30.
So Kendall Jenner technically is a Kardashian because of... Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
But it does always seem like there's the Kardashians and then there's the Kendall Jenner brand that seems to be
rivals
a bit. Like they could now be pitted against each other. Like when Johnny and Sammy Sortino had rival businesses in Omaha.
You know that Robert Kardashian Sr. was one of O.J. Simpson's lawyers?
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
He was played by David Schwimmer in the FX movie.
He was in the show Friends with Jennifer Aniston. It was always cold.
That's true.
Would we so
remember Robert Kardashian's face when the not guilty verdict came through? He was the only one on that side that was like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah. Okay.
He was a little befuddled.
Did that again when the Heisman was announced a couple months later.
I try and not pay attention to this because I fully believe I am. This is a hill I'm going to die on. Robert Kardashian.
Okay. Considering what we were just talking about, like okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm going there.
Oh,
go there.
All right.
I'm buckled up.
I'm not advocating this for everybody because you got to be comfortable with it because there are after effects, like the whole sex tape thing. Okay. I believe I may have written a paper on this before. That the Kardashians would not exist if Kim and Ray J's sex tape was not released in 2007 because it paved the way.
There's a sliding door theory.
The Kardashian name being out there and the whole celebrity and stuff.
Yeah.
So
he was in on it.
They, like some people, a sex tape comes out and they never recover.
Right.
I mean,
Pamela Anderson been the same since her and Tommy Lee's sex tape came out?
Exactly.
No.
Rob Lowe recovered.
Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
Don't kid yourself, Jimmy. You clicked on that and you were wondering, why is it so dark?
Yeah.
Why is it black and white? And why
is the CC camera footage?
Why did I download it on Kazaa?
And why is Paris Hilton's eyes so bright?
Yeah.
That the Kardashian whole 17 years doesn't exist if there's no sex tape. All right.
Yeah.
There were spinoffs.
This is like the viewing theory.
There were less sex tapes, but you got a glimpse into how Kim and Ray J got together. And then you understand the Kardashian Jenner thing. And it just goes from there and it becomes a $1 billion empire. I'm all about chasing the bag.
Yeah.
They've done a hell of a job. I don't get it. I don't really think that, I'm looking at my life. Probably Courtney or Khloe or Kim were not hooking up anytime soon. I just don't got time.
Yeah, and they know that.
Yeah.
So they don't even bother.
But the sex tape introduced us to the Kardashians. So what I'm trying to say, kids, is be very, very careful if that's the route that you're going because sometimes you never recover.
Yeah, it's not a good winning percentage there.
Yeah.
Also, Ray J is the origin of the Kardashians. That's the main thing here.
That's true. That's where
he's ground zero.
It's where it all began.
Patient zero.
It's essentially like the 4 seed in the NCAA baseball tournament going all the way to win a College World Series. It's not.
Which one?
The success rate of actually being able to build a brand, a very strong, close to it's not close. It's a multi-million-dollar brand that stemmed from popularity of a sex tape. That is not the route. That's the equivalent of a 4 seed riding that heater all the way to the national championship.
Really gives
You
a
can't
lot of
expect
different
that.
meaning to Arizona's 97 title run. But okay.
Absolutely. It's very similar.
Like you, they were bottom heavy. In their
87 days till Nebraska and UTEP play.
Oh, come on. Come on, Gary.
I have to ask you guys a question.
Where are you steering this?
I've seen the tape.
We all have.
I mean, geez.
Well, I think we're all in agreement, so we can move on.
Yeah. Just throw some NFL Films music behind it and you're good.
Late night and you have a good Wi-Fi. What the hell?
Yeah. That's been a while.
Road trips to Grand Forks are rough.
What did you say there? It's been a while?
No, it's been a while since I've seen it.
Oh, I say you're going on a road trip to Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean,
we got the kid in the backseat. Come on.
And how did he get there? And did you check said backseat?
I did.
Valid question. Then.
All valid questions. Backseat is for. No.
You left us hanging there.
Well, there's always wild interpretations of, even when we bring up something as simple as the backseat anymore these days.
So the Nebraska football released their Chasing 3, the third episode last night. Many people have consumed it. They do a great job. It's good storytelling. Yeah. I mean, Thomas Fedoni could have a really good story to tell.
Yeah.
Gotta have a good year, though. Mm-hmm. I just saw that he got a banger of new ink. I mean, he's a dude, but they need him to be really good this year, like NFL-ish this year. But this latest episode features him and then Ramir Johnson.
Yep.
Ramir Johnson is curious to me. And I've had a couple opportunities to interact with Ramir away from the football complex. And he is a really, really, when his football career is over, he's going places. I mean, he just is, he gets it.
Good selection of dogs, too.
So he's an interesting person to me because how many people, when they look at Nebraska's running back room, which Nebraska's getting a lot of love, and they don't return a guy that has run for over 500 yards. Now you have to step back and go, well, there were guys injured, and I get it. But, Harburg was the leading rusher last year. But it's a running back room where there's a lot of uncertainty. Ramir, to me, is interesting from how fans talk about Ramir. I think fans want Ramir Johnson to be successful, but not to be the guy. I could be completely off.
No, you're right.
There's a lot to be said about the loyalty to Ramir Johnson. Ramir Johnson is also one of those guys that is still around from the Frost era that benefits from, man, that staff screwed you. They didn't know what they were doing. I'm glad you stayed. I love you, Ramir. Don't go anywhere else. And then you go, I don't know how they're going to use him. And nobody ever says anything bad about Ramir Johnson. They'll talk about, man, we went and looked at that Michigan film in 2021.
Yep.
Was it 21? Yeah.
Yep.
And what Nebraska did with him, and we went, whoa. Yeah. Matt Rule. I was there. I went, where has that been?
Mm-hmm.
But I could be reading the tea leaves wrong, and maybe I'm inserting my own personal opinion. Love Ramir. Great dude. Love him on your roster. Love him in your room. But I don't know that I really want him to be my number one running back. And that was not the tone of him being in this episode. It just showed you Ramir Johnson is an A+ guy. But what about the football part of it?
Because that was the crux of this whole episode was the recoveries from both Thomas Fedoni and Ramir Johnson. I don't think you're wrong at all. I don't think you're on an island of your own. I think there's appreciation for Ramir, and I think for me, everybody focuses in on that Michigan game, which he was a playmaker and he stood out against a very good Michigan team and a very good defense as well. That said something, but remember the running back situation going into that year. Now you did lose
Gabe Irvin.
That would have been in the Oklahoma game. Yes. You lose him, but remember also in that Oklahoma
By the way,
game,
a lot of the magazines that are out have Gabe Irvin as a starting running back for Nebraska.
No. If that's the case, then you have a problem there. The other part of that game, when I think of the game in Norman, that is, was Ramir getting the start and actually having success. And you're thinking, whoa, okay, where's this? Because at that point they were going through so many different running backs, and then you had there was the Marquis Step part of it as well. There was so much uncertainty at that position. And so Ramir, at least in a very convoluted, banged up injury room of running backs, he seemed to be a guy that was somewhat steady. I mean, you also had Jock Yant. I mean, there was a lot going on there that you never knew who was actually going to come out with the first team each week. But all of a sudden there was some belief in Ramir. And I think it was in the Minnesota game where he got banged up and he wasn't all that healthy. And so he's kind of playing through that. So he at least during that season represented some stability. And then it all culminated with that Michigan game and the way that they used him. So I think people look at Ramir this way. You start with his size, and you're thinking, how can a guy like that be a lead running back in the Big Ten where you've got to be strong between the tackles as well as you'd like to see that second-level speed? He's got the second-level speed. And for a guy that is a little bit smaller compared to his peers in that running back room, he plays bigger. He's tough between the tackles, but I think people are fixated on the inconsistency of use. I don't even know if anybody would overly dwell on the injuries that he's battled through, even this most recent one with the shoulder. I think it's more of we still get fixated on his size and the fact that even with the new coaching staff, nobody has really been able to find a definitive role for what they can do with him. And so you can look at that in two different ways of cool. He can be that Swiss Army type of running back where you can line him up in the slot. He can be a matchup in the passing game, matchup issue in the passing game. And then he can tote 5 to 7 carries a game. Great. That's useful. Or you look at it as if you can't find a permanent role for him, is there really a role for him?
Is Lamar Johnson the best standby running back Nebraska has ever had?
It might be. I mean, seriously, he might be.
Yeah. We don't have a ticket for you to fly on this plane, but boy, you can be on standby.
Yeah.
And if somebody is out, you're in.
And that's not a bad option.
Well, I don't know, man. If you're in your 6th year, I don't know if that's what you want to do.
Well, no.
That's just my sense.
And he's stuck with it. That's the thing about, I think that's another part about Ramir that people really gush over is the fact that he could have taken the exit many times and he never has.
He gets love because of his loyalty.
Yes. In a time in college athletics where loyalty is somewhat rare.
But I don't know, he also might be the poster child for mismanagement. He was a Blazer coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he's also,
I remember that Maryland
he's
game.
one of the rare players that is left over from the last team that started 1-0 at Nebraska. I mean, you've been here for a while.
Yeah. I remember the Maryland game.
But I just, because we will go through a phase in the offseason of the Ramir Johnson day where people are like, man, look what he can do. And I don't know that continues much longer on a conversation because I've never seen it and he's never been able to stay healthy.
Right.
But maybe if you use him the right way where he's 10 carries a game guy and 3 or 4 catches, then you're good. But I just don't sense people go, man, there's a 20 carry guy.
Right.
Just not. Great guy. He gets a lot of love because of loyalty and because he was mismanaged in his career.
Yep.
And because his current head coach likes him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to say the word trust, but do you like him? Like him to be the guy to have the answer at running back? I don't think so.
I don't either. And I think a guy from a year ago that we would have said also no thank you is probably the clubhouse favorite right now. And that's Emmett Johnson. I think a year ago you didn't know much about Emmett Johnson. And all you knew is he'd been on the roster for a while, hadn't gotten anything of significance. And then all of a sudden, again, in the circumstances where you have a banged up running back room, you get an opportunity and you give some quality reps in that opportunity. This is where fans of Nebraska football appreciate that.
Let me see.
Just like with Ramir Johnson.
Let me see what Athlon says about Nebraska's running back room.
I will stand on this, though. If Gabe Ervin is your starter, you have a big problem at running back. Because I've listened to it, you've listened to it. After his true freshman year, there's been a lack of explosiveness, even when he's been, quote, healthy, that I just don't get.
The only guy I trust in the running back room is Emmett Johnson.
I'm with you.
He may not be the starter on opening day, but right now, after what I've seen, he's the only guy I trust. Athlon says that quarterback Heinrich Harburg was the leading rusher last season.
You're going to say quarterback Heinrich Harburg, the starting quarterback in 24.
That will change with more emphasis on passing and a healthy Gabe Ervin Jr. leading the running backs.
Nope.
How long does the health last?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a question too, but I go back to it. When we've seen him healthy, it's been okay.
Yeah.
You do better than okay.
Ramir Johnson and Gabe Ervin have not played a lot of football games.
No.
And not because of, I have no idea what to do with you. It's just they have availability is everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they will tell you. All right, 26 past the hour. Brandon Vogel will stop by here in a bit. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
The bottom line is, for 6 months of YouTube TV, 5 of Prime Video, 1 month each of Peacock, ESPN Plus, and Netflix, comes to a grand total of $5. And if you want to add the Sunday ticket, you're looking at $855 if you want access to every single NFL game played this season.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly sunny, breezy, and warm for Wednesday. Expect west winds gusting 20 to 30 miles per hour with temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 80s. Can't rule out a stray shower late in the day, though most will remain dry. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Funplex asked an AI assistant where you find ultimate summer fun. And, well...
Funplex. Nebraska's largest water park and rides. Now with the brand new spinning, tilting Wipeout. Tasty treats, special events, private cabanas, and more. Probability of unforgettable fun, 100%. Funplex is the best choice for an all-in-one day of summer excitement.
So, see you at Funplex then?
I am a language model.
Yeah, fair enough. Get your human tickets at fun-plex.com. Let's go!
For the second year, the Nebraska Lottery's NASCAR Powerball Playoff promotion has roared into our state, and the excitement is throttling up. Until June 24th, buy a Powerball ticket with Power Play and Double Play. Enter the voucher number, and you could be one of 15 Nebraska winners of $1,000 and the chance to win a VIP trip to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship weekend, plus a shot at $1 million. Enter today. Powerball top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 12th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, we're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
There is only one constant in the universe, and that's change.
Brent Rasmussen of Mortgage Specialists. I'm sure many of you remember the incredibly low interest rates that were available only a few years ago. Well, things changed. Now rates are higher. But would you believe me if I told you there was a time when people were paying double-digit rates? And that's the thing. Everything changes. Rates go up, rates go down. So if you're waiting for the perfect time when rates drop before you buy a home, you might miss out on the home you really want. So when you think about it, what's a thing today might not be a thing tomorrow. See? Change is good. I'm Brent Rasmussen. Call me at Mortgage Specialists, and we can show you all the details. Mortgage Specialists. Driven, trusted, reliable.
Click mtg-specialists.com. NMLS number 5918, Equal Housing Lender.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
we're going to be conflicted around here when it comes to our football. Trying to get rid of our walk-ons. Hell no, I won't go. I'm expecting a congressional hearing, and there will be people sitting at a table, and their first thing will say, "My name is Matt Verzal. I'm a walk-on. My name is Monte Cristo. I'm a walk-on. My name is I Am Hip. I'm a walk-on." So you're conflicted of
I didn't exhale.
like the nuts and bolts of Nebraska football, the walk-on and the running back. Because I think, and I thought this after this run of wide receivers and big money in the NFL from Brown to Jefferson, is, the college mimics the NFL. NFL kind of mimics college, is the proliferation of Matt Verzal's favorite thing. I mean, I think he's out there today on a field, 7-on-7. Okay, loves it. You guys, anybody goes into Pisons today,
what does he call it
and
again?
Verz is there, 7-on-7.
No, what does he call it?
Underwear something.
That's the combine, underwear Olympics.
Yeah, that's the, yeah.
Oh, but 7-on-7,
he's got a phrase for it.
Yeah, it's
but the heart of the matter is, Verz loves 7-on-7. He thinks that's the best thing that's ever happened in Nebraska football. Actually, football period. Football period, not Nebraska football. But because of the proliferation, especially of 7-on-7, and you can't stop it. It's huge around here. This area has some guys that are deep into 7-on-7. I mean, they're going outside of the borders to compete. And nationally, hell, in Florida, they have a state championship that is
really
sanctioned by the Florida High School Athletic Association.
When did they run that season?
Well, right after spring football.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they have a great climate year-round.
So you're going to see, I mean, we already know that the running back, unless they're Christian McCaffrey, has been, they've been moved back a few pews.
Yep.
People are going to shy away from playing running back because now they're looking at, wow, wide receiver is a good spot. Tight end's a good spot. Wide receivers are getting paid. How long before that impacts college football, where there just aren't a lot of running backs to go get that what you would think as true quarterback handoff running backs? How long before that catches up in college football? Because I'll give you another example. I just looked this up on 247sports.com. The top 25 football recruits in America. You got to scroll until the 45th overall player before you find a running back.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be running backs.
I said, Mama, let your baby be a tight end. Tight end is the new cool thing. We talked about that before too, or wide receiver get paid.
Or if you got pushing in the cushion, you know what? Make us some offensive linemen because we need some offensive linemen. We need to stop making tight ends around here. All right, do whatever you got to do, change a position, whatever. We got to start creating some offensive linemen around here.
Did you say you got pushing in the cushion?
It's the theme of the show.
It is, yeah.
I'm just trying to help out the local folk.
Get the fat bottom.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, I don't want to say it's the death of the running back, but they might have to reinvent themselves.
The hybrid running back, yeah.
The Christian McCaffreys are more popular than they have ever been.
Yep.
But there's not a lot of Christian McCaffreys out there.
Well, and so this goes back to the tight end, the traditional tight end, the inline blocker that could, if you had that speed, that freakish ability of you blended size, but just blessed with good footwork and speed, that you were going to be heavily utilized. But there was still more emphasis on the physical play at the position. And then I would attribute this to, I think, the Jimmy Graham era of when he was unstoppable in that Saints offense. And then all of a sudden you started seeing that shift over to the hybrid tight end. And we've talked about this a lot now with what you see in high school, the amount of tight ends in the state that are must-watch football. Are we about to see that type of shift where all of a sudden you have a tight end that, there's a lot of them that can still muscle up, do a little inline blocking, but they're going to be more valued of what they can do as a pass catcher, to where you look at the running back position, that it's going to be less is more. Less carries, but more ability to be creative and be able to line them up in a slot, be able to utilize what you can give them in the passing game as opposed to what you can give from a 15 to 20 carry a game performance. I think there's always going to be ones that exist, but I wouldn't be shocked in 5 years if the majority of the most valued running backs that come out of high school are the ones that do give you that versatility.
What about in this state? I mean, we are in a town where we went on a heater of some of the best high school running backs this state has ever seen that played right here in Omaha. And they usually stayed home. It's been a while. Collins Okafor ain't walking through that door anytime soon.
There's a name right there too, West Side.
I mean, that's going back, 2008?
Yeah.
You know, there aren't an abundance of Bradleys and Duckers and Strongs that have come through the metro running the football. There have been more Betts and Lloyds and Cottons and wide receivers, you know, Princes, those kind of guys that have come through. Jackson at Millard South. I just think we're in an era where the running back is going to have to reinvent itself, and it's not only on the NFL level, college level, but high school level. But I think here in this area, go watch a Friday night. Unless you're going to watch Newman play and you see the great Connor Booth, who was in
that was the one
Nebraska's recruiting class.
The only one I can think of.
You know, and I don't know how much you've seen of him, but you know, you go and watch high school football around this area. Most dynamic guys are wideouts right now because the quarterback play has gotten better in the state of Nebraska.
That's a good point.
All right, Brandon Vogel from counterread.com coming next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Some people think business banking is only about transactions. But at Emprise, we don't view money as an end game. We see it as an engine. It's who we are. Transforming ideas into IPOs, turning potential into profit. Emprise is next generation business banking, where we help money work for you, not the other way around. That's the power of possible. Visit emprisebank.com to learn more. Member FDIC.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Severe for Ted and Wally's Premium Ice Cream. Been doing it for 35 years, so many flavors. And one of the great things about ice cream is it fits into Americana, right? And what's more Americana than baseball? And we have the greatest baseball tournament that happens anywhere every summer right here in Omaha. So when you're downtown and you're just trying to get a little bit of fun in with baseball, stop by the location in the Old Market and get some ice cream as well. Ted and Wally's have so many great different flavors. And the great thing about it is that every single day on social media, they put up a new list, whether it's the Benson location or if it's a location in the Old Market. And all you got to do is go on there, find your favorite flavor, and stop by. And they also make sure that whatever you need, say you're thinking you're keto friendly, they have keto friendly ice cream. If you have a problem with, say, regular milk, they help you out as well. They have so many different kinds of ice cream that will fit you. Check out both locations. You can go to Benson, right next to Taste of New Orleans, or in the Old Market and enjoy the atmosphere of baseball. And when you do visit them, tell them Severe sent you.
How powerful is Cox Fiber? Powerful enough to let your band members in Vegas, Phoenix, and Omaha jam like you're all in the same garage. Introducing Cox Fiber from the company with the fastest download speeds 9 years in a row. It's internet built for tomorrow, today. Cox, always building better. Limited availability in select areas. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms and restrictions may apply. Analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence in Las Vegas, Omaha, Phoenix. Fixed median download speeds Q2 2016 to Q1 2024.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. You know, I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. You know, basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
You give and you give. It's time to get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a Samsung Galaxy A14 included with the activation of a Silver Unlimited plan. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah!
Switch to Straight Talk. Find us at Walmart and straighttalk.com. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com. Requires in-store activation. Device offer ends 6/9/24. Taxes and fees apply.
Like eating out? Like saving money? Then get to Cops at 180th and Center, Shadow Lake Town Center, or 72nd and Jones for their daily specials. Tuesday is $3 off all burgers and sandwiches. Wednesday, buy any specialty pizza and get a one-topping 50% off. Then Thursday, all wings are $1 each when you order 10. And this just in, all Cops locations now offer their own delivery service. Click copspizza.com to see the menu. Cops, pizza, and so much more.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers, and that radon levels in our region are some of the highest in the country? Do you know your radon level? Protect your family by contacting the experts at Radon Defense Midwest. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer to 1620 The Zone listeners. Get 50% off a professional radon test. radonradio.com. What's your level?
The backseat. Check the backseat. All right, come here. Check the backseat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the backseat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, time to welcome in our good friend from counterread.com, Brandon Vogel. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
He said something.
Good morning.
You can see him talking.
Oh, no.
Do a little sign language here.
Brandon, we can see the lips moving, but we cannot hear you.
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you. You got me?
Uh-oh.
All right.
We might have to get Brandon on the
Jimmy,
phone.
Here, I'm going to write the question on a piece of paper, and I'll hold it up.
Then, Brandon, you text your response.
Okay.
Maybe we can get...
Are you?
We can get the what's the voice chat thing?
Where's the camera?
There's your
How are you?
Oh, we got a thumbs up. Okay. All right. Here we go.
They can hear him on the stream.
Oh, they can.
Jimmy,
Okay, we got one of these
but
things
we
going
cannot
on.
hear him. So we've done this.
Still don't understand how this happened.
Last week, too.
Been gone a week and a half. Can't blame me.
No. No, so this happened last week as well. When both of you guys were.
Any chance?
Test.
I'm texting him. We should just call him.
Let's call
because we never had issues
let's
with
call
phone.
Brandon. Yeah, let's call
We want to
Brandon.
be fair to Brandon.
Brandon, we're going to call you, buddy.
Okay, let me write that on a piece of paper. We are calling you.
You know, there's some times when I've reached out to potential guests to see if they want to come on the show, and I could never see their facial expression if they're really into it, even though they say yes. At least that time we said, hey, Brandon, we're going to call you, and we could see his facial expression, and he didn't seem to be too put off on that. So that's good. There you go.
All right. So he is disconnected. This is how we should do interviews.
I know, right? Remember we kind of did that with Amy the one time. She was texting responses.
Has anybody figured out that situation, by the way?
I don't know. It happened with Peter and myself, last week. I'm trying to remember. It wasn't with Brandon. I can't remember who the heck we were talking
Now he doesn't have phone? By the way,
who's trying to hijack this
Amy Just, a former regular guest on Mornings with Sharp and Handley. She is will be just periodic.
Yeah.
But she is not now a regular guest on our show. I saw she's in Fairbanks, Alaska.
Oh. Yeah. Covering the summer baseball league out there?
Do not know.
Oh, it was with you. Remember, we were trying to get you on.
What do you mean with me?
When you had the
issues. Amy and I were in Fairbanks.
No, it was with you, Gary. She was there with you. No, the issues we had, it happened with you.
Do we have him? All right.
I'm here.
Hey! Good to hear that voice, Brandon.
All right. We apologize for that. That is our fault. All right. We're gonna get quickly into this because we had a discussion before you came on about Ramir Johnson, and running backs in the football world, they are not as valued as they have been, and especially when you look at wide receivers in the NFL getting paid a lot of money, a lot of 7-on-7s. We get more excited probably about the wide receivers that Nebraska's recruiting than any running back they have, scratched the itch. Do you think in the college game, the Ollie Gordons of Oklahoma State, who ran the ball 270 plus times last year, Cody Schrader at Mizzou, and the Judkins at Ole Miss, who's now at Ohio State, are they going to become less and less those kind of carry totals in college football, and we will instead be searching for the Christian McCaffreys out there?
Yeah, I think so. I think the position is going to become more specialized, which is kind of the opposite of where a lot of these positions are headed. Like we're going to be at a point where you just need a guy who can carry the football because we can talk about the passing game and its increased importance in today's football. Like you still just need somebody to run the ball. So you'll always have the guys who are like, big enough or in the middle of a good season that can carry it 200 plus times a game. But I think more likely is what Matt Rule kind of outlined for Nebraska going forward is you're going to have a guy who's like maybe above 15, and then you're going to have an 8 carry guy. And ideally you'd have a 4 or 5 carry guy. And it's going to be about it. You're going to split it up, and you're probably going to have a range of body types doing that just because if you're a 6-foot high school kid who's uber athletic, you kind of got your pick of some positions. And running back's getting to be a tough sell.
It is, Brandon. And I think the other part is when we think about it at the top level, how people always talk about the running back shelf life. If we see this shift, because I'm with you, it becomes maybe more of a specialty position to where you're asked to do more than just 15 to 20 carries, run between the tackles and the occasional burst outside, that you're going to be catching passes. That's going to be much more of the running back profile. Does all of a sudden that resurrect the position, in your opinion, of value at the top level, where all of a sudden you do now have that opportunity to get the bigger paydays, as to where we've seen, and as you guys bring up, McCaffrey being sort of the outlier right now?
Yeah, I think it has that potential. If you're at the NFL, I think if you're a running back who can present matchup problems, like with all the things that people want to do offensively, they can motion you out and put you in the slot, all these things, that we talk about. Like, I think that's the path to be in that guy. The Derrick Henrys of the world, or whoever you want to choose. We need somebody to carry the ball, which teams still do need that. It's just we've seen it doesn't command kind of the market value it once did. It's becoming a little bit more, or maybe a lot more, thankless.
I agree with you. It's the way football is going, but it does make you look at the history of Nebraska football, that Mike Rozier once carried the ball 26 times in a half. Or that game, was it 2011 against Iowa, where Burkhead carried it 38?
Yeah.
8 times to get to 307.
I didn't recall that, but I mean
28 is still a lot.
Sounds like a lot now.
Now it's a lot.
Now it sounds like a lot.
It was average.
But you're right. Something you brought up, if you look at the 2019 Baylor team, I think Charlie Brewer was the leading guy in terms of attempts. He had 147, and then the next two were 109, 103. So that's kind of what we're trending to, with a not so much quarterback-centric run game like they're getting away from. So I think you could see that kind of a breakdown. Help me here, because we made it through May. The attention to Nebraska and the momentum and movement started to pick up. We're now 5 days into June. FanDuel's odds are making it more likely that the over is the right play. Was all of this in play before spring, or did one guy flip how people feel about Nebraska football?
I think it was mostly in play. The odds changing is kind of is a big deal, because when it came out, you can look at the Nebraska 7.5 win total, which is what it was in January, February, whenever I first saw it anyway, and it was pretty heavily juiced to the under. meaning that they were, on the short end of 7.5 by the odds makers view. But I think it's a little bit of schedule. It's probably in Nebraska. I think being a net positive, but not a big one. It's not Ole Miss, it's not Colorado. Although Colorado, who knows, maybe they end up being a net negative in terms of the transfer market. We'll see. Pretty much keeping the roster intact and being a little bit transfer independent for the most part. I think maybe that adds a little bit to it. If it's getting too bullish around here, ESPN's FPI always put Nebraska at 6.5 wins.
Yeah.
So that that was an interesting one. We don't need to get into that whole thing, but that was one of them that was kind of in a recent run of buzz for Nebraska. This one was a little bit closer to we think they'll be an about average college football team.
So we brought this up earlier in the week of the day that announcement. Well, first when we're getting rumblings of Dylan Raiola flipping his commit, and then when it officially happened. If kind of to Gary's question of the confidence that more national folks have with a year 2 turnaround, I'm curious if Dylan doesn't show up here, and let's say a transfer quarterback that realistically would have went to Nebraska, we were reminded about the Kyle McCord part of it, and then Sam Levitt from Michigan State. Chubba Purdy's probably still here as well. What do you think the overall optimism, either nationally or even locally, would be compared to what you get the sense of it is now?
Interesting way to put it. I think you get fewer kind of big national voices talking about Nebraska as a team that's poised to improve. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the factors that point to Nebraska's improvement would still be there.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know. A lot of this stuff kind of happens in the black box, like FPI. What are they penciling in for Dylan Raiola as a 5-star true freshman?
Right.
Who knows? But how different is that, given that we know recruiting rankings are a big piece of any of these models, compared to, say, your average transfer quarterback that maybe Nebraska would have landed? Not McCord. McCord's kind of former high 4-star, 5-star, former Ohio State quarterback. He would have been pretty high. I don't know that it's that different, at least from a numbers perspective, in terms of where we see some of these projections. So I don't think a lot of people are saying, well, they got Raiola and he's going to be good right away. That's why Nebraska is trending up. He's a piece of that discussion, but I think he's a relatively small piece.
Okay, so that kind of goes against my question, but I'm going to try and lead you into this. Is there an equivalent to him that single-handedly could flip the vibe of a program? You have to go all the way back to Frazier?
Maybe. When you think about where Nebraska was at that point, still really good by our current comparison, right. But had those bowl losses, kind of felt like something needed to change. You were getting stuck a little bit in what we would come to know as the Pelini zone in the early 90s. So Frazier changed that. Trying to think of anybody Rex Burkhead was a really big recruit. It kind of came in with a group of guys, so it was a little bit strange. But and when he came in, at that point in the Pelini era, they were still on the way up for the most part. You might have to go all the way back to Frazier, just because prior to that, all the way to say Rex Burkhead, the next guy who came immediately to mind for me, Nebraska had downs, but they weren't long-term downs the way we've seen now.
You guys don't want to say Harrison Beck or Sam Keller? I'm only half kidding. There was
Beck hype was big.
There was hype around that, and even the transfer of what Sam Keller could mean when it came to having an NFL type quarterback is at least what it was projected. But yes, I don't think it's even close.
There's a lot of in the month of June recruiting going on. You wrote about it. What would signify a win in the month of June on the recruiting side for Nebraska football?
I think you're looking to land a good chunk of your class, like whatever the final number ends up being. And this has become a target that we used to be able to talk about with some confidence, and now who knows with rosters so much in flux. But Nebraska landed, I think, 12 guys committed during June last year. I wouldn't expect them to be that high, just based on what I would expect the class size to be. But you're looking to land, I think, 6, 7, 8 players during this stretch. You got the camps, which are valuable, I think, even for guys who've maybe already been on campus previously. Now's their chance if they take part in the camp. They kind of very loosely take part in the camp. If they're an established guy, you still get coached and get to see how these coaches coach. So it's valuable in that regard. So I think it's a big opportunity. And Matt Rule has been kind of upfront more than most of like, yeah, this is kind of how we've structured this. Like, June is our time to lock some things in. So I think if you came out of June, with just 3, 4, 5 commits, it would be a little bit of a sign of alarm for me, at least. Unless you got a bunch in July.
People say this is the dead period. I say this is when Brandon Vogel does his best stuff, because he takes you places that nobody else will go. What to look forward to upcoming with you and Aaron on Counter Read?
Yeah, so there's a little bit more data now with FPI that I can dig into. I probably won't hammer that too hard. We've got a lot of power ratings at this point, but still worth taking a look at. Colorado, FPI has them as the 36th best team in the country. Interesting. Also excited, something to jump into. You guys were talking about, I know, running backs. It's one of those unknowables, which has been a little bit of an off-season season or series I've been doing. What's the best possible version of Nebraska's running back rotation look like? So probably pencil through that next week.
Oh, fantastic. It is always a great read on counterread.com and a conversation. Brandon, have a great week. Thank you for putting up with our little technical stuff.
No worries, guys. Have a great week.
That's Brandon Vogel. That's the show. Enjoy your vacation, Nick.
I
Safe
will.
travels.
Thank you.
Jimmy and I.
Nice seeing you.
We're back. Yeah, we're here for a day.
I think it's on the radio replay.
We'll be back again tomorrow at 6. Crossover with Connor and Josh coming up next.
Live from the Host Coffee